Okay, recording is going on the stream, so we have that VOD. But yes, let us jump back into the world of Roshar. First thing I want to do is cover a few logistic sort of things. First of all, the map is a little different. Our little landing page made a little pretty and clickable, as in you can click on your little stickers in the bottom left to open up those character sheets. You can click on the right side to open up some lore docs I grabbed from the Cosmere rulebook. A little spraying, little fauna, flora, and spheres. And then I'm gonna zoom y'all in. We have our little people on the map. So, yeah. Oh, this is a little homely. You get to see where major players of your guys' plots are. And I've added, since our first sort of triumph, little Axine and White Spine, which I'm planning to keep going as a little marker of our adventures.
Fun.
I will never forget the time where two of us almost died.
Yeah, good fun memories. So I know it's the only colored art of Varen that is there, but how dare you use the art of him that's one half of the art of him in Yura and yours cut out of it.
It kind of worked out because I had to cut out his hand too, which fits.
This Jesus Christ!
I'm like, oh, nope. I was like, should I make him this happy? Oh wait, no, this fits. This works. It's more painful.
It's horrible.
Evil.
But yes, so our little guys are in play, and you guys will be symbolized by Leaf as he flies around the map.
He's so fucking fast, boy.
It's just like how he flew around during our introduction scenes, and now, yeah.
And so there's also two images of Rathalas and then the countryside. Rathalas doesn't do anything right now, but if you click the countryside map, it'll take you to that scene as a good, easy way for you guys to switch between things if you want to check the map at any point easily.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I had fun. I was like, oh, okay, wait, we can use this map for more. This feels like a nice log of our journey. Okay.
Really fucking cool.
Yes, okay. Next quick logistics thing. I realized after our combat and just our general play style, right, we are more narrative players, and one thing I'm going to change a bit about how we do combat is I don't think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong if you feel differently, we don't need damage rolls, like rolling for damage. And so to speed up combat again, I'm thinking we use like average and flat damage for stuff. How do people feel about that?
Can you say that one more time?
Not using damage rolls and instead using average damage and along those lines.
Oh, so like instead of rolling for damage, just be like, okay.
Yes. There's one more step above that, but I want to check on that first.
I could go either way. Like I'm not against using average damage, but I'm not like.
If I crit, can I still crit?
Yes. And this is actually
cool.
Your, brain big numbers might go burr. There is one thing I'm doing on top of that. So I'm going to have you not just always do average damage, but based on your roll. So if you roll with fear, you will do average damage like normal. If you roll with hope, I'm going to have you guys do max damage on whatever the attack is.
Ooh.
If you roll a crit, you'll do max crit damage because crit's got to be cool.
I'm down for that. Sure.
Hell yeah. And so
how could that possibly be a Faustian bargain?
Technically, it is a buff.
Do this for yourself.
It is a buff, and it's not broken because we have damage threshold anyway. But it is a way of like, okay, yeah, we don't need to like our sort of gameplay. We care about how this affects, not exactly rolling damage. Because last session we had a bit of we had to keep rolling to figure out Torlin's damage because he got to re-roll so much, and so I've already talked to Bell about it, and he got a little change in that ability.
It'll no longer take a million years.
Cool. And then the one last thing I want to talk about, and there's a few other things I'll talk about as they come relevant, is I was just thinking about how to make use of mechanics outside of combat a bit, and then specifically you guys hope spending, because I can easily like ask you guys to spend hope to do things, but I wanted to put forward for you guys to consider spending hope on your own to emphasize actions. For instance, in D&D, we roll for a lot more than we do in Daggerheart, and so if there's any time you guys are like even outside of combat narratively doing something and you're like, oh yeah, I want to decide something cool to my character, but I don't want to just have it, and it might do a roll in D&D, but I probably won't ask for a roll just because I don't want to slow down the game. You guys, to place the additional narrative emphasis, can do something like I do with fear, where I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm going to ask you a hard question. I'll spend a fear for it. You guys can do the same thing with your hope. And then that's an easy way to convey to everyone, hey, yeah, I want to lean into this thing my character's doing specifically.
Okay. I'm super down for that because I already have a note written in my phone of when this thing happens, ask Ash if I can spend hope to make a thing happen, even though I got the
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I think it is a great tool for you guys to take narrative reins, right? Like, you know, in D&D, it's like, oh yeah, I can't like do anything I want, but here you guys can add a lot more to the story. And if you feel bad for like just saying how something happens, spend some hope on it. There you go.
Hey.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm sure we'll have lots of extra hope to spend.
Yes, you guys have plenty of hope. That's why I was like, okay, I want more reasons for you guys to spend hope. Because like I said, we are more narratively playing than very mechanical.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, let's do a bit of a recap. I'd like a volunteer to help narrate a scene through their character's eyes that stood out to them in the first half of our session last time.
First half of our session last time.
Something that stood out to your character. That's a great way to kind of show your character's inner monologue while it was happening.
Hold on, I'm going back to find the names.
And I will add, even if your character wasn't there, but as a player it stood out to you, something other people were doing, you can talk about the inner monologue of your character having heard what happened.
I remember where last session, the session before last ended and last session started. Last session started with going to hunt the white spine.
The last session started...
Oh,
with the death.
No, go for it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, so last session started with the death of Silu, the basket weaver from town. And Torlin, Edge, Yin went to go see what was up. You
want to volunteer that scene from Yin's perspective?
Sure.
All right, then to return to that moment, the middle of the town, the villagers crowding around, and we see Yin standing there in the periphery, like her body moves forward and joins. And what's just going through Yin's head that you might not have gotten a chance to even like speak out in the moment?
I'm trying to remember where Yin was at mentally, but I think the big thing was like this deep feeling of like, oh, I know this feeling. I want to be there for these people. But like at first it was a little bit of like, oh, but is that my job to do that? I'm not a part of this. But then deciding anyways, like, no, like we could have killed the white spine maybe on our own before, and we didn't, and now this is the natural consequence of that.
Regret, pain, feeling like you have to do something now so you don't keep regretting it. Yin takes a step forward towards the body on the ground, the little girl beside it, the apothecary and the parents, the village elder standing a bit away. Out of the corner of your eye, you see Torlin run off and in the direction of Teravon, who also seemed upset by the situation. But you are focused on the girl in front of you. We see you comfort them. We see you not just give words of hope, but also pass down weaving that you've carried with you. A bit of braid from Sealu's head becomes a charm in Mina's hand. What else is going through Yin's head as she finds herself being there for someone that truly needed someone?
I think she was wishing that someone had been there for her, and because it feels bad to be in the situation with someone of oh, nothing I'm gonna say is gonna fix this. Nothing I'm saying is gonna like magically make this pain of yours go away. But if I can just like show you that you're not alone in it just for a little bit, maybe that'll help. And also maybe a little bit in the wishing of oh, I wish someone had been there for me when this was happening. She thinks about Yura and her family and oh shit, yeah, and then I made people be there for me and that sucks.
You remember
but
that.
this
Mm-hmm.
oh no, just the something about being able to be there for someone else when it was her, she was alone for months.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there was something in there that felt like galvanizing to her soul.
Yeah, and as you speak words that hide your own pain, as you focus on Mina, you remember being alone for months, finding Tilira, and as much as you still feel guilt, like you forced yourself into their lives, you remember Tilira, Carla, Zdenek, Baron, they also were not letting you go. Yes, it was maybe some contrived reason there or here or wanting to spend more time with Leaf, but they also shackled you down as much as you think you shackled them. And you realize it's the same thing of you taking a step forward to push yourself into something that you almost felt like you had no right in this village of people you just met. It starts with that step of meddling. As Mina holds dear to the charm and you return her after a walk to her parents, and you make way to return to your home in the village for the moment, make a plan. What did Yin promise herself in that moment in terms of the white spine and what she knows is to come?
If this is a thing I did last session, I don't remember, so I will make it up fresh off the
We're
dome.
making it up right now.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Basically, I want to understand what was her resolve in that moment after she produced the kindness, and now it became more so about the plan.
Yeah, I think it sort of steals her to be like, hey, you can't leave these loose threads open to hurt other people when you have the option to get rid of them in the moment. So now you have to go kill this white spine, and that might suck a lot, but it means that these people don't have to deal with that again. And then on the macro scale of their big plan of I think she's not quite yes, I'm ready to, I'm fully on board and ready to go do it, but she's kind of seeing Gavilar as another white spine of okay, if I leave this here, this is going to cause more pain, this is going to cause more suffering, and I have to do something about it.
Ian sets her jaw and begins to walk. leaf circles and then lands on your shoulder, a reassuring weight that almost helps push you forward. You feel the buzzing of chime in your saddlebag, and you meet back up. Torlin, Teravon, Talira. You guys tell Talira everything, your plan, your intentions, knowing full well that she will not be joining because she is injured and you have to. You're going to be honest, but you will still hold firm in case she puts up a struggle. You meet with the huntsman, you meet with the guards. All of you concoct plans and whatnot, but are able to at least understand from information you found. The silo, the beast is there. Torlin looks like he figured something out, but he keeps it to himself, at least in the moment. You make your way, the militiamen, you two, Torlin, Yin, Teravon, to the site. Yin, you watch as you know via your sight there's a soul in that silo. And you see Teravon sneak up to it, as he was supposed to, and scout, and then jumps it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The battle ensues. Torlin, for the second half of the session, I want your perspective as you try to beat at this creature. You get a good hit in, it tosses you to the ground. You go scrambling, trying to get away within this confined space. And as you're against the wall, you see a light just blow out as you get to the doorway and fall outside. You, from your perspective, just see Talira explode with light. What is going through Torlin's head?
I think the whole time building up to that moment was a struggle in his own head to suppress the fear to get the job done. But the fear wins in that moment as he's trying to run away to escape. And as it does, that blinding light takes hold of that scene, of that environment, as all eyes go to Talira.
Your vision is focused, and then you feel your body shudder as the white spine gores into you, tossing your body free. You feel your vision drifting, but hands catch you as Teravon is there, catches you, sells you down a moment before your vision seems to be draining. And you see Talira stand there, pick up a spear from the ground of one of the dead militiamen, and send it hurtling into the white spine, pinning it to the wall, a glyph appearing in stormlight behind it. What feelings goes through Torlin's head now as you're half dazed, you're half like, is this like, have you lost too much blood already in just a few seconds?
He feels disconnected from the moment, but even that isn't enough to overwrite the sheer awe he feels witnessing this, what feels like a divine sight in front of him.
We move now to exactly where we left off, as the militiamen lie dead, but Talira, you still glow bonfire of light. The white spine, one having pinned to the wall, the other, shortly after, was laid bare by Yin and then sent hurtling to Teravon to actually serve in this combat, finish the beast off. He seems both surprised, but with a nod, Yin, you give him the confidence to slay the beast. And you all breathe. And the next few minutes is a blur, but you're just thinking. You're stuck in your head. You're reacting. You're still in combat. I forget exactly how, but the huntsman is knocked out after he looked aghast at Talira and tried to sneak off. But
I fucking slinged a rock right in the back of his fucking head or leg or something.
So he's about like 20 feet away, slumped in the ground, and you guys have a moment to yourself.
Yura, I think there is a brief moment after spearing the white spine, where she's just sort of like standing there, feeling the stormlight like streaming from her, feeling suddenly, after a week of being bedridden, like shockingly whole and hale and healthy, and even like better than she's felt in a very long time. And I think stares at the glyph at the wall for just like a second too long, and then maybe it's like a grunt of pain or just like a noise or something behind her, and finally spun and went. And then I think we left off when she was looking after Torlin, and so she's immediately on the ground beside him, trying to stem the bleeding, assess the injuries, see what she can do to help.
You guys are there. One last thing I also forgot. As you're caring for Torlin, you did catch sight of Teravon slaying the second beast, and you can't help but see the proud look on his face, as due to that choice by Yin, Teravon went straight to max hope. And
Hey.
in doing so, I added a little thing where basically when he gets to max hope, he will have his hope go down by the number of PCs, so he'll go back to 3. Each of you guys can gain a hope and clear a stress, which will take off that vulnerable condition from you, Talira, as you can't help but share in this youth's sort of pride in being able to actually do something.
Yeah. I think he's been, it's probably been, even if he hasn't been around a ton, pretty obvious that he has not been feeling great about himself or anything that's going on lately. And so there's a little bit of like, good, I'm glad that I'm glad he could have this moment. And then she's back into trying to stop Torlin from dying.
I think Torlin's just looking up at you in this moment, looking over at Teravon, and it's a pained smile on his face that isn't like that shit-eating grin that you're used to seeing, but the same like resonating feeling, kind of just pride in Teravon, but also just right now, because it hurts to talk, a quiet wonder at what you just did.
I think there are a couple moments where she looks away from what she's doing with her hands to look at his face to sort of see how he's doing, see how he's okay. And if she catches that look, I think their eyes meet at least once, and she looks away quickly. And I think as like almost a distraction to herself, when she breaks eye contact in that sort of like furtive way, just sort of starts like a quiet stream of like, you'll be fine. We'll just patch this up and we'll put some disinfectant here and you'll be all right. The white spines are taken care of. We can be on the way soon. And just like sort of starts like it's almost the kind of like stream of talking that would be more helpful for someone who is more delirious, but she's doing it more to distract herself than to like keep Torlin from passing out or whatever.
I think Torlin still has enough adrenaline in his system that as Tyria is talking, his hand just reaches to grab her wrist, and quieter than he might want to, but as best as he can imagine right now, refuses to back away from what happened. How did you do that?
Her hands still in place. And there's a moment of like, he probably, whether or not he can read this is up to you because he's probably partly a little delirious in this moment,
Yeah,
but there's
sure.
a moment of like the mental process of, do I say, what do you mean? And then she sort of like looks down at her own hands, which are still just like wisping with stormlight. And she sighs a little bit, and that like the breath is like visible almost as though it were cold. because as the like stormlight is leaving her, I don't know, Torlin. What's important right now is making sure you're all right.
Yin, you and Teravon are standing a bit a ways, turning your eyes back to your glowing mother after you had knocked Rock at the unconscious now body of the huntsman. And Teravon's just like looking at this situation, and he also seems to lack of words, and he just like looks to you as if like, you know, who's gonna say something?
uh, Yin has realized that like she's been slowly becoming like the person you look to for like, hey, what do we do next? And she's like, don't do that. um, uh, and I think she just sort of shrugs at him like, I've you've never been in this situation. I have never been in this situation. I have no idea. Um, but uh, she will like ruffle his hair and be like, "Thanks for saving my life, I guess."
Um, uh, and he seems like a little like going back to that moment, like he had finally like calmed down from the pride, being like, okay, no wait, Teravon's hurt and Tiller is glowing, and now you bring him
Yeah.
back to the moment, and he can't help but like blush a bit as like, I don't think it was really me. It's just we all worked together, and I'm like, I don't know if, and he's just like, the kid that's like proud but doesn't feel like he can show being proud because it's like he's just
Yeah.
like he doesn't know where to focus his thoughts.
Yeah. I think she sort of pats him on the back and is like, "Welcome to the wonderful cycle of doing cool things, and now we have to clean up the mess. And so now you get to stretch your healing skills again." And she's gonna lead him over to where uh, Yura and Torlin are so that they can assist. And because she's going to kill Torlin, so someone
We
needs
gotta
to
heal
bring
him
him
before
back
we
from the
kill
brink of death. Someone's got to heal him because I'm not.
him. Oh my
That's the
god.
lie. She will. She will. But she
But
gonna
it
heal
will
him
hurt
first.
him more than it has to.
Yeah.
As you bend down and like look over the wound and get even closer to the glow that you recognize coming off Talira, what is the inner thoughts? What is racing through Yin's head?
All right. Do I recognize this as a thing that I have seen like before?
On your own skin, yes. Not to
Yeah.
this degree, right? She is a beacon that's finally coming down a little bit now. But yeah, this is the same wisp of white light seem to be streaming off her skin as you've seen come off yours.
Yeah, I think Yen is trying to do Yura the service of like not talking about the elephant in the room at the present, I think, because I think she sees on Yura's face like the focus on Torlin and the very, very hard swerve from thinking about anything relating to the light coming off of her person. Um, it's just like it's very much like a Yin looking at her, and maybe they share a glance, and Yura can see like the Yin it will remember this pop up in the corner. Um, but like she wants to talk about it because she's also like, what is it? What do you do? How did you do that? Is it bad? Are you dying? Are we dying? All these questions, but none of that matters right now because we gotta get Torlin back to the town and also figure out what we're gonna do about douchebag supreme.
Um, I think when Yin, when Yin comes over and is looking at Yura and they share that moment, I think she watches like the hesitation of almost the stutter of like Yura looking at her, quickly looking away, and then like freezing a little bit, and then finally enforcing herself to look back at Yin and just like nods a little bit, but doesn't say anything. But it's at least acknowledges that there is an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
But it's like clear that she has to like make herself do that. And then very gently puts one hand on the hand that Torlin, like where Torlin has grabbed her wrist, like very carefully removes his other hand. We'll talk about it later. For now, we need to get you back to town. And maybe stop you bleeding out.
Torlin gives like a weak chuckle as he like looks down at where the blood is still presumably exiting his body before looking up.
She just,
It's not too bad.
Mhm.
It's like
Okay.
you weren't as fucked up as Tulare was in that first score.
Yeah.
So it's like a wound that
I wasn't.
digs into you, but has not hit anything internal.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like there's a hole through me. And
Uh,
I think
no, go ahead. You gotta get your time before I kill you, so go and do whatever you gotta do. Make a peace.
I think Torlin's gonna look down at that and the weak chuckle before slowly feeling a creep over his shoulder or chill over his shoulder as he looks over at Yin before looking over back at Talia with a much more yeah, desperate look in his eye.
Because remind me if I'm remembering this incorrectly, I could, be delusional, but do I remember Corlin looking back at Yen, doing some sort of like got this motion, and then just disappearing and getting super fucked up? Is that what I
I
remember?
think it was specifically mouthing to you, there's no white spine, and then jumping in. Or no white spine in the silo, or look something like look
Yeah,
outside.
like no.
There's nothing
Wait,
here.
wait.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
there's nothing
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
I was gonna make an Odysseus joke, but he doesn't exist in this universe. Um, yeah, no, I think because like, I imagine Taravon and Yin are like kind of backlit by like the moon outside as they enter like this darker space. if if this were an anime, one of her eyes would be glowing red. And she just sort of crosses her arms and looks down at him, and it's like, no white spine, huh?
Not anymore.
Stupid idiot bastard. It's just a litany of just curses at him as she gets down to help, and it hurts.
As Yen is doing that, like starts helping, Yura has a moment of looking between them, seeing how like both afraid and chagrined Torlin is, and like how pissed Yen is. And she kind of goes a little bit still, and then looks down at Torlin. Did you jump in there without backup?
Well,
Yeah, Torlin, did you?
technically speaking, I did have backup. Just not when to be expected. That's all. And looking back towards Celia.
Wait, so the white spine was in there the whole time?
The whole time. And you told me there was nothing in here.
Taravon's finally piecing together, like, as well as Claire's like, wait, he's like, so many emotions.
Yeah.
Torlin,
I think you guys had a second white spine to deal with. I was gonna just take care of the sleeping one. It's supposed to be easier.
We had 6 people. 7 if you include Hunter Guy. I'm not including Hunter Guy.
But like they would have given me away. You know they're not as sneaky as I am.
They are dead. We could have done this smarter, no?
Yin is like nodding. She's like, yes. Or Taravon, yes. You understand.
You jumped in there, well,
I think
There-
when that happens, specifically when Yin and Tiliera were digging into him, he was still a little like lighter about it. When Taravon tries to speak about him, then he's like what's it called? Like a pang of anger is on his face of Teravon of all people trying to correct him, and it's not because Teravon is wrong by any means. It's just because, well, he doesn't like being corrected by someone
Yeah, yeah, it's his
he doesn't
peer
see as smart as
versus
him.
someone above
Yeah,
him. And so it's like, for what reason did you do this? Were you trying to get the glory for the honor? I thought you didn't care about that.
it. I. I don't. I don't. I. It was sleeping, so I should have been able to take care of it. And yeah, they're dead. So if they're dead trying to fight outside with your the white man outside, then
Wait, you knew there was a white spine outside?
he looks away at the
Yin sees that the Teravon of all people is the only person getting through to him right now, and it's just like common like Alethi swears are not enough, and just starts like going off at him in uh Iriali, and just like Torlin might know a couple of things. None of them are good. And she is just like sort of sliding in between like Alethi and Iriali, being like, "You're a fucking idiot, and you're gonna fucking learn this lesson. God damn it!" And
These curses
like,
keep going as you finish the bandaging and understand the wound is not terrible. It will take a few days of rest. It needs some proper stitching, which you can't do out here, right? But it's not bad. He should be even able to walk, even though slowly.
Can you stand, Torlin?
he tries pushing up off the floor and shakily, I think, can get to his feet.
Yeah.
As soon as his like,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as his back leaves the ground and he's like in that sort of, will he actually make it stage of trying to push up? Yura isn't like physically pushing him up, but there is an arm hovering behind his back, ready to catch him if he falls.
You're
I
a
think
little
as soon as he
unsteady
stands up,
just from muscle weakness, but the adrenaline from the battle is still in your system. And so you're not feeling the pain fully yet.
Mhm. I think even with that, he like has that gives him like almost like false confidence as he takes a step and immediately kind of stumbles and ends up having to rely on that hover hand that Tilia was providing.
She does just loop his arm over her shoulder. And looks back to Yin and Teravon.
I think when Ira looks back to them, she could see on Yin's face with Torlin's back to her, like all of the anger is very much like the holy shit, if mom had not miraculously shown up full of light and magic and shit, I would have lost Torlin, and it would have been my fault because I was in charge of this. And you could see that sort of like, holy shit, what the fuck, what the fuck? That she's not letting Torlin see because he doesn't deserve it.
I think seeing her like seeing that start to break over her face, Yura goes from this sort of like, we need to do the next thing, we need to make sure he's okay, we need to get back to town, and her face sort of like also breaks open a little bit, seeing her Yin like almost like scared, and just calls out to her, come on, we'll get back to town, we'll get him settled, and we'll figure this out, Yin.
Right. Yeah. Of course. She's like trying to get herself together.
As you're trying to get yourself together, Yin, you see Leaf has actually landed on top of Teravon's head after you patted him right? A
Mhm.
while back and said signal, and you see his like hind legs are, like above, and he's like crouched down, like ready to pounce, and he's been looking at Talira, but just like seems like even he understands a lot of emotions, but he's been just like eyeing her, like as if a cat about to pounce.
Does your guy want to, does Leaf want to eat me?
Leaf wants to eat your Stormlight, buddy. Um,
All you are
and
is fear to him.
I think like she's trying to sort of like wave him down, but not bring attention to it. But she's like, Leaf, you can't eat that. I don't think that's polite. I don't know.
Like Terravon's head is even swaying now by like the amount of thing Leaf's shaking as it is. What what is happening? Leaf is like clicking at you like in like whining tones.
I think he wants to eat
Oh yes, are we talking about the
the
accent in the room now? After we get mad at Torlin?
I mean, I would if we want to go back to getting mad at Torlin, I just Leaf, stop. You're being weird. You're I think she tries to be like, "Hey, quit it." And I think Leaf just is like, "Leaf gonna do what Leaf gonna do." And Leaf is gonna try to eat that Stormlight.
You like put a hand to block him, but he's fucking done this. He jumps over, and you can feel
Yes.
this thing like fucking jump on your back, and immediately your stormlight begins wisping away to there, and the glow starts going down.
I think the way it happens is like Yura and Torlin are already like after the we're gonna go back to town talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yura turns back and is walking away, and so they're a good like 20 feet ahead, and she notices that like she either hears Yin or notices they're not right behind, and is like Yin, what's? And then it's just like collision.
Just collision. Yeah, you.
Ian's like trying to like jog over, and it's like, Leaf, she's still hurt. You can't do that.
Yeah, you aren't hurt at all, Tilira, right? By this impact, it feels like even softened.
Mhm.
You're holding up Torlin, and Torlin, you just like as you feel like where the push comes, your wound stretches a bit. Doesn't open, but stretches.
Ow,
She
ow.
Sorry. She tries to steady herself and like tightens her grip on Torlin a little bit, and then with her other hand is like trying to scruff Leaf and pull him off of her. I'm just like, you, what are you doing?
You
He's
pull him off. He has taken. I think I told you are full. So what is full?
three.
Is it three?
Three. I think so, based on your spellcast rate. So yes, three. You are down to two right now.
And Leaf is hungry for
She's
more.
holding him
Yeah.
like a cat that has done something bad at full arm's reach away from her and is like turns him so that she can look at his face and is like, you can't just do that to people, Leaf.
Clicks like whines. Like when you're like pulling a cat away from its like bowl of food.
And here's the thing. Like, Yura would recognize this exact experience because it's the experience that Yin and probably everyone in the fucking house had
Mhm.
anytime he would get into their spheres and eat all the stormlight out of them.
Oh yeah, they've been here before. In this exact
100%.
that's she knows that this works because she's done it to him before, like when he was trying to steal from her sphere pouch.
This is like you see he's even more whiny because before it's like the spear pouches is like a few stormlights and they're like tucked away and they're in smaller piles. Compared to all the other time, it's like he sees like a huge buffet in front of him in all in one
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. She's like holding him as far away as possible and looking at him. And there's a and like kind of glances over her shoulder. Are we pretty close to town?
It's up to you guys. You like you're like in general like you guys had to walk maybe um I will say 10 minutes. So yeah,
I'd say we're like maybe, the last ridge before we get there, like not
sure.
quite in sight, but we're close. And kind of looks over and then like looks down at like even though it is decreased quite a bit, that just like gentle wisping off of her arm where the
Mm-hmm.
sleeve is rolled up. And then sighs, like looks at Leaf again. You can't jump on people, okay?
It like finally goes a little slack, but gives you the puppy dog eyes.
No jumping.
clicks.
She just kind of holds him there for a while, and if he looks appropriately sad, we'll be like, don't do that again. And then puts him on her shoulders. And turns to keep walking and just says quietly, "You can have it."
You continue walking.
Although, as
Mhm.
As Yin's watching this, she's like, "Ah, yes, Torlin is to me what Leaf is here." She's like, and I think Torlin can sort of see her watch that and then look at him like, I could probably scruff you.
He has fucking flashbacks to Talon.
You guys keep moving, and as you see that the village, there's no lights or anything right now except a single militiaman that was left to wait for you guys, hopefully, with a candle. And as you are about to turn the ridge to see him, Leaf eats the rest. So you are no longer glowing, Talira.
Thanks, Leaf.
Leaf is our buddy. He's our good friend.
Leaf
He's
is
a
cover
little
story.
rascal.
Leaf is the whole getaway vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Leaf
he
turns
eats
into
enough storm
Clipper.
light, he will be.
Yeah.
He seems very content on your shoulders right now. Like food coma content.
Yeah. She just lets him hang out there.
Through the dark, you hear a voice call, hello? You there? Announce yourselves? Is that Captain?
Oh.
You see, like, maybe a 17-year-old kid, right, with very basic, just, like, leather tied to his front, right? Very basic militia gear. So it's like, oh, Brightness, looking at Yin, who, like, did a lot of the planning at the time, and says, and, Brightness, sorry, I didn't realize you went with the others. Are you all right to be up and about?
She like straightens a little bit and kind of gives him a it's not like rude. She just sort of like lit a little bit of like an eyebrow lift and is like, "Well, I walked here just fine."
I see. So
It's
was the mission
My-
called off then? Where's the others?
Yin steps in at that point because she was the one doing a lot of the planning, and will take the blow for the consequence. And I would like to say that before we left, she did like sort of like line up the bodies and like make them like not like presentable, but like treating them with as much respect as possible because they chose to do this. And it was very helpful, but also they sacrificed everything to do it, and she feels very badly about it. And she'll explain that, we lost your captain, and was it 3 others? Was it 4 total?
What? Wait. The white spine, you've encountered it then. It's
There were 2. They are both dead.
2. Oh, he seems to be taking it like, you've killed them all, but no, the captain. And he looks like he is not fucking jurisdiction. He doesn't know what to do. I'll run for the village elder, and he like looks at Torlin, who's actually like limping and whatnot. And the apothecary. We'll meet you at the abode, and he runs off.
Thank you. She's like, should we have brought back the huntsman with us?
Corlin's eyes wide as if he just realizes it.
Was he still unconscious in the field?
When you left.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's gonna above the table? Who's gonna even believe this man if he says anything? I saw a glowing lady pin a white spine to a wall. Nah.
Yeah, Yin might go back to get the guy, and then also to cover up the right. Are the Is the
Is the
glyph
glyph
like
still
seared
here?
into the wall?
No, it was already fading, basically,
Okay, great.
as you guys were talking and patching up Torlin.
Okay. She's like, I'll go back and get him.
So,
Yira nods at her. Be careful.
so the three of you go to the abode, and Yin heads back on her own.
For that, I think
You
Torlin's
want
gonna try to
Caravan?
reach out towards Yin.
Yeah.
And does it call Yin over to whisper, basically? Before saying the
Just
same thing he
walks
did.
over.
Saying the same thing he did at the last one. I was like, here, make sure he's extra unbelievable. Plant some of this in his back. Or pocket.
Oh.
And some fireballs.
She looks at it and then looks at him, but
This teenager
it's all
had
in
to
the
do some
face.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, tonight's been too long. I gotta. This is God. The sun has to rise at some point. And she nods. She takes it, and she will go do that.
Yin
Torlin-
walked away. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Torlin solemnly nods in his head. Like, okay, cool. Yin didn't say anything about it.
Yin didn't say anything about it. Yin walks away, tucking it discreetly in her bag, whatever. And I would like to imagine that that's when Torlin becomes aware of just like the absolute waves of motherly sort of
Poor Torlin.
not necessarily just like evil energy radiating from the woman who's standing directly next to him, holding him up, who can hear and see everything that he does.
It was my friends. I was just holding
The
on
only
to
person
it.
traveling with us is Taravan.
Just literally.
Leaf is like, yeah, man, that was me.
She kind of takes a step forward and pulls him with her, heading toward the house.
Torlin's
That
like, I'd rather be
better
fighting
have
another way. It's
been
fine.
for emergencies.
You three return to the home you've been given. The apothecary arrives maybe after 5 minutes, the village elder, and you recount basics of what happened, I'll say, as the apothecary undoes and does some proper like stitching and ointment that they have on hand of Taravan's wound.
Yira, still enclosed, covered in blood, feigns, if not being as injured as she was, at least not doing too great, and does sit down as soon as they're there, and sort of watches from the corner, keeping herself out of the way, but putting upon, even though she feels great, putting upon an act of being tired and worn and in pain.
Yeah, you had enough time, like settling in before they showed up, that you're like, okay, yeah, wait, I should be sitting here to not arouse suspicion, and with like my bandages covered up and the blood at least covered by a blanket or something.
Yeah.
Taravan is like looking at you now, Talira. Like he's gotten mad at Torlin, but he's used to getting mad at Torlin. But now he's like looking back at you, but he's not saying anything as like you tell the village elder, like what happened.
She attributes the spear throw that killed the second White Spine to Captain Helleran.
Okay. And wait, are you saying you witnessed this, or are you saying this is what Yin and Taravan told you?
Yeah, what Yin and Taravan told her.
Okay. It's like, remarkable. That man never ceased to give for our village. I can't thank you enough, Brightness. And Bright Lord, thank you. You were wounded because of the great lengths you went for us. Honestly, I'll be honest, I apologize to say I doubted that you were willing to help at all when you first arrived, but I can only sincerely apologize for that and continue letting you know that this village will always house refuge and home if you ever need it.
Torlin has a hard time responding to that in a way of a kid not being used to being thanked. And just looks away, just goes, right.
Thank you for your hospitality before and offered in the future.
Of course. It's been a harrowing experience, so rest for now. If there's any details you've forgotten or need to discuss, we can speak in the morning. You said Brightness Yin went back? Or, yeah, what did you say about where she is?
I honestly, I guess Yer doesn't know how we want to play cards about the hunter yet, about whether we want to say that, like, bring him back or just, like, send him on his way and be like he ran off. So she just, she looks down for a second and then looks back up. We haven't, they couldn't move the bodies on their own, but she wanted to make sure they were at least tended to for the moment. She should be back soon.
No, of course. We'll send some of the boys to go collect the bodies. We shouldn't leave them out over there overnight.
I'm sorry for your loss, Veda, and for that of your village. All of this is tragically avoidable, and I'm sorry that it happened.
Well, you know, honestly, sometimes you must count the Almighty's blessings. We were sent your aid when we needed it the most. Thankfully, Siliu was the only one whose time came truly before our time. The others, they knew what they were risking, and they would have likely gone on their own and met a grisly fate without your aid. Either way. But because of you, no one else need die to those beasts.
I'm sure they'll serve the Almighty well.
He nods, and somber expression, but you do see a glimmer of, like, hope because of finding help where he really did not think so after you guys' first interaction. Rest, please. We'll return in the morrow and speak further if needed. Thank you.
Of course.
Again. And he and the apothecary will go back, retire for the night, leaving you with ointments and things to aid with Tervon's wounds and any supplies that they were able to get in the middle of the night. Yin. You return back. I will refer to a message I sent in the chat 10 minutes ago when you guys were like, oh yeah, we're at the last ridge. I was like, okay, you guys are all the way back, and you left the huntsman. But you returned at least this night. If you returned, you forgot completely, I was like, okay, I spent that fear, he's gone. But because you returned, you will get a roll. Give me a roll of your choice in terms of returning and figuring out, finding him in general. The journey back to the village took a bit longer because Torlin, you had to go with his pace. On the way back, it was a bit shorter, but it's still like 15 minutes-ish that you left his body unattended.
Okay. I will roll instinct. I would like to use hope to use something isn't right for her hypervigilance to kick in.
Sure. Yeah, this is a problem. It needs to be dealt with in the moment.
Well, I can tell I rolled with fear, but I don't know what I rolled. 18 with fear. Great.
18 with fear, which is pretty good. You get back, and he's not there. Like, you're back at the scene, you see the bodies of the soldiers, and not where he is in the moment. And you're just like, fuck. You look around, and you see something fallen on the ground. You see what looks to be a almost what's it called? Like someone make up some jewelry keepsake that the huntsman left behind.
Bracelet. One of
A
those thick bracelets.
Sure, a thick leather sort of bracelet, right? That seems to have been left behind as he probably got to his feet and moved, and he is perhaps not too far, right? Judging by the dirt and the path of you being able to track. 5 minutes or so, probably ahead of you, as he got to his feet and then took some time to understand what's happening. He has wandered definitely away from the village. It's up to you. You can chase him and you will succeed based on that roll, right? But on that roll with fear, he is not here, and you can tell after being knocked out after what happened, he like probably does not trust you all.
Yeah, Yin is sort of stood there in the dark in the middle of the night, wondering whether or not she wants to put the fear of the Almighty into this guy. Um, uh, and I think, like, as she's standing there and she's thinking about all the things that they still have to do and how fast rumor spreads, I think she just looks to Leaf and is like, "Seek," and he flies off to go get him. She'll go hunt him down.
All right. Leaf finds and returns to you as you follow the trail on foot, and um, like takes maybe like 10 minutes total to catch up and find the trail, and you see that he is like resting because it is dark, right? And so he's resting in an alcove on the side of a ridge, just like catching his breath, and you see him before he sees you, just like he's looking down his hands and like looking around. There's blood on his hands from like the fighting and whatnot, and he's just breathing hard, and you can see definitely like does not notice you because he's like thinks he's safe and he's trapped in his thoughts of like what the fuck just happened.
Uh, like I know what I want to do. But Yin does not want to do like a full like have Leaf be the herald of his demise. Uh, yeah, I think Yin just says, "You wake up quick."
Oh, like fucking flips around, turns, and sees you at the entrance of this alcove, right? Where he had crawled into and thought he was safe, and like, um, brightness, it is good to see you. I, I'm glad to see you made it out of the battle all right. And you definitely see he's like eyeing you, eyeing the bow on your back, eyeing like the sling on your side. He's like gauging situation.
Yeah. She's like, I'm trying to decide whether or not she wants to be. She has a -1 in presence. So tell me, what story are you leaving here with? I'm a great storyteller, and I would like to make sure that your story is a good one.
Um, there, of course, was the tragedy of the villagers' deaths, but the White Spine was slain. Uh, I yes, the White Spine slain. The hunt is concluded.
She rests her hands on her hips and she's like, "This is a story that you're gonna tell. We all went fight the White Spine, and there were two even. And you led us with valor and guile, and we won the day. And that is where the story ends. Because if I find out that it's not where the story ended, I'm very good at tracking people, and there is nowhere that you will be able to hide from me. You can choose what you're going to do, but the consequences will be yours.
Give me a presence check. On the roll with fear earlier, I was gonna give disadvantage to like interactions with this guy because he is like, oh, you knocked him out, and so he was like, wait, what the fuck is happening, right? But because your story feeds into his ego of him taking credit, it'll knock off that disadvantage, and so just give me a presence check. Neither advantage or disadvantage.
Yes.
Okay. And he like brightness, as in I can return having said I took care of the beast myself.
Shit. I think in her head, she's like, "All right, big guy, like let's talk." Like, she's like trying to figure out a way to say like, "Hey, let's make the story believable." Okay.
Well, he's not saying on his own, but he's like, oh, like it's not a fucking glowing woman fucking killed it. He's like, oh yeah, like oh I
Yeah. She's like, of course, you use your expertise to lead us in this combat, and like without you, we might not have come. We might all of the soldiers from town didn't return, but if you had not been there, the rest of us might not have come back either.
Of course. And in the battle, I, of course, received grievous injuries myself, the only survivor, and so I might have misseen things.
I don't know what you possibly could have misseen.
Of course. Yes. No. Yes.
It was...
Sorry, you were saying it was...
she's just like, history is told by the victors. This is the story the victors are telling.
Of course. And he'll like stand on his feet, definitely calm down. Mm-hmm.
So she's like, you win. People I care about are safe. The town is safe. I see no reason why that can't be the world that we walk into.
Yes. I agree, Brightness. We have very much dealt with the danger and everything is safe now. I agree, thank you. And I'm sure I wish you and your companions who are passing through well. And I will offer this on your roll with success with hope as well. Is there anything specifically you want him to do besides just like, oh yeah, take credit for this and like not have you guys involved?
Like, yeah, like the main thing I want, and I want to make sure that this is happening, is that the fact that a glowing woman showed up and did crazy glowing woman shit never comes from this man's mouth ever. And that's kind of like the big version of it. Like, it's kind of like the big thing that she wants. So now she's like, oh, I think she's like, I think, you go home, report what happened the way we've agreed, and then you lay low for a while. And I think she might like make a show of like showing Leaf the bracelet that she found and him like sniffing it to be like, I have your scent, I will fucking find you if you do not do as I ask.
Yes, yes, of course. I was going to ask if I should return for my supplies, but perhaps I should, make a bit of a night stroll about this, and with all due respect, may our paths never cross. And he will keep that fear of you showing up anytime with him, and he will not spread word of the glowing woman. And as the days pass, thinking it more so a part of his own imagination as he starts to believe the lie, as he would do if he is truly going to take credit, which he wants to. He doesn't want to undermine himself by like spreading, oh no, like a woman speared this thing and she was glowing.
Yeah, for sure. Now you killed not one but 2 white spines. Wow, dude, that's crazy. But yeah, so Yin will let him leave. And but then she's sitting there, she's like, well, now I have drugs on my body and I don't know what to do with them.
You just have the drugs.
I just have drugs now. And she's gonna go back to the site where she imagines I imagine at this point other people have shown up to where the bodies were and will help bring them back to town.
Yes. You have a moment alone. Think about the drugs. Leaf chirping happily, like having sniffed the bracelet, and just like, because hey, you succeeded and he feels a positive energy. It's just like things have gone well. It is true. The danger has passed. In a while, some of the village boys arrive, and together you guys return with the bodies of the captain and the other 3. Night eventually finds you as you all are in need of some rest. And the next day arrives. Now, we can go into a bit of what happened, and if there's any scenes you guys do want to make sure to play out, do. But I will let you know, Torlin, it'll take probably at least 2-3 days for you to be able to, like, oh yeah, I can travel and it'll just ache a bit. Thankfully, your wound was a lot shallower than Talira's.
I just unfortunately don't have magical healing.
Yeah.
Yes. The villagers are told of your exploits, and though there is mourning from the families of the militiamen that died, of the captain, there is a release, and the faces that meet you as you make your way out of the house the next day, Yin, and Teravon too, is like smiles and gratitude and thank yous.
Yin gave the drugs back to Torlin. I want to make that so clear. She when they had a moment of just them, she was like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did you even get this? Do not. No.
No, bad.
He takes it from you and goes, well, I mean, technically I got it from you, and starts putting it away.
Well,
me.
Well, just now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just...
She's like, I'm gonna make a white spine look like Leaf, okay?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Boy, piss me off.
How do the next few days progress for you all?
I think once Torlin can walk, even though it's still like achy, so he can't travel properly, he's going after Talira. He wants to know what everything there is to know about everything. I think alongside Yin.
Yeah.
Do you both like, oh hey, we're gonna talk to Talira?
If you would like to have your own separate conversation, I won't butt in on it. We could also do it together. It's also fine.
I want to do it together because I'd like to imagine it's like Torlin getting out of bed, Yin being like, where are you going? And Torlin's like, to Talira, and then they both resonate.
I think, Talira, are you like leaving the house, or are you in the house too? Because
she's in the house.
Yeah,
she's unfortunately feigning bed rest until we leave.
Like, you guys are basically in the same room of bed rest. So when the father comes to check, it's like check on both of you, right?
So we get up, like we're moving around in the morning, and like we both catch each other like looking over at Yura, and then we're looking at each other, and then we're like, yeah, it's time. It's time.
Is Teravon there?
Yeah, very much so. I think Yin and Teravon are the ones that are able to like leave the village and go out, and they bring some supplies, talk to the apothecary, talk to others.
And Yin does, but this is a separate situation. This is a separate time.
Yeah, and so like they're definitely back, right? They're not like going out as much because they're also checking on you guys. So, take it away. Oh, one more thing. No, actually go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Leaf gets sent to sort of perch on the roof and alert if people are coming by, so they can have this conversation in absolute private.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically Yin opens the door, lets Leaf out, shuts it, latches it, and is like, so about that axe signed in the room.
Finally, Terravon says. Is it actually... And he's just like... It's like, I thought it was going crazy, everyone was ignoring it.
Oh.
No, I would never gaslight you, Terravon.
Two things can be true.
Yura takes and lets out a deep breath that I think comes across as like a deep sigh, but to Yin, who has lived with Yura for a long time, would know that this is like more of a steadying breath for her. Like she's taking a deep breath. She's not like sighing, and she lets that breath out and stands from the bed and goes into, like, I assume this is only 1 or 2 rooms, but goes to wherever there is like a little cook fire area, or like sort of I imagine like a little niche where they can have a cook fire, and sets about making tea. I suppose we have to have this conversation sooner or later.
Yeah, no, I'd say so. I think it's been too long already.
Yeah. And don't worry, the huntsman is not going to be talking about it. I think maybe because I now live in his nightmares.
Did you?
But
Terravon was like, kill him? And he like cuts off.
No, he's not. No, he's alive. I just
all right.
scared him a little bit.
That scared him a little bit. Yura kind of looks over at her and then looks back to making the tea.
I just maybe said that I would find him wherever he was if he ever spoke about it. And gave him a perfectly valid story to tell that made him look cool. So there's no reason for him to ever say anything about it.
I don't doubt you could.
Terravon
He got so mad at me.
Like sharing a look. It's like, okay, don't make Yin mad.
Fucking forget it, stupid boys.
And I think Torres is quite like, he got so mad at me for trying to gas up that, trying to, like, encourage the huntsman. Look at you, did the same thing.
It's just like, anyways.
Yura is sort of in the background listening to them bicker as she sets about making the tea, and when it's done, sets out cups for each of them at whatever small table is available here, and sits.
As you're making the tea, Talira, you feel a small little stone hand on your neck as he sits on your shoulder. And before we get to this conversation, I want to flash to your dream last night as you slept and rested. You find yourself years ago when much work is on your mind. The city needs to be restored, but at the same time, it's never going to be the same. And where do we find you? Like, one of those days, like maybe a few weeks after the city fell.
I think perhaps because it's what reminded her of this dream. She is in her house, making tea again. Not because she's allowing herself to have a break, but because she spent the last several hours in Varen's room, reading papers aloud, writing, scribing, doing work. Despite the fact that he doesn't really respond to any of her questions. And it's not so much that she got tired and is allowing herself to rest, it's that she couldn't be in that room any longer, and so she left to make a cup of tea.
Yeah. And the fragrance is both stimulating and calming as you close your eyes and breathe out, and then you look back at the tea, and you see this little stone person just like standing, looking over at the pot and grunt. Mm-hmm.
She kind of goes still.
This thing has been following you around the last few weeks, and it's weird because Spren don't usually follow people around this much, and you haven't seen a Spren like this. And all it does is seem to be grunt at you, like you didn't even know Spren could grunt, but it like reminds you of times when your father would just like be listening to your mother and just like nod, or like you would hear him about to disagree and say like but no other words or anything come after. It's just like those two almost like acknowledgement versus yes or no. So grunts.
I think she reaches up, she like stares and then reaches up and scrubs her eyes with a hand. I must not be getting enough sleep lately, which is true. Opens one eye back to see if it's still there.
Yep. And it is nodding as you said that about not getting enough sleep. Arms crossed, like looking at you like lecturing figure.
There's a little just under her breath, like, passions, I think a Spren is talking to me. And then looks back at it, at him. What are you, little Spren? I don't think that's a type of Spren the Ardens have studied. She very slowly reaches out a hand, sort of half hoping that it will disappear or run away or will not, will prove that she's just sort of in a waking dream.
Yeah, you put your hand out and very matter-of-factly it like steps into your hand. Like, oh, finally now.
Okay. She stands there not having a second step in mind. And then finally, after that very awkward length of pause, sort of lifts her hand very slowly. Like, if you had like a little stone statue in your hand, you wouldn't expect it to be able to stand up while you lift it. And so in that sort of same level of like caution and trying to balance, even though he can clearly balance on his own, sort of lifts him toward closer to eye level. You've been following me around.
And it's literally just grunting, but you can kind of sense what it's meaning. And it's like, you know, hey, am I following you or are you following me? You know?
I've been busy. I haven't had time to follow little Spren around. So.
Like, and it's like, oh yeah, too busy is sort of the intent. And it looks over at the tea and looks back at you. And between you and me, Tiller's probably drank way too much tea the last 2 weeks in order to not sleep and keep working.
Yeah. I don't think a rock has any business telling me, humming at me in that tone.
You can feel like a grunt that's almost like a hot pot-bellied laugh, sort of. That's like almost like, of course, rocks have business telling people. Rocks are, you know, like they have all the business. They are the ones that see everything, hear everything, and have the most to judge.
She kind of looks at it for a little bit. You're not going to stop following me around, are you?
It puts its like hand up to its mouth as if it's really thinking about that.
Surely there are more interesting people.
Once more, it gives a bit of a laugh.
Ones who aren't stuck inside. bending over papers that never end.
And you can't tell if this is a question you get from it or you're thinking. And it's, yeah, if there's more interesting people to follow, more interesting things to do than stay inside, going through papers, and your mind, and get like, is that true? Sort of question from the grunt, but at the same time, you ask it yourself because would you go and find someone more interesting instead of the man in the next room that's leaning on you so much?
I think when that thought enters her mind, there's both the immediate, like, talking back to herself in her own head of, like, of course not. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And also that, like, awful traitorous thought that is not, that's, like, both hers and, like, not her own of, like, I wish I were somewhere else.
As you feel both of those conflicting emotions, though, you look down, and this little stone creature is smiling because that's still something you understand. Even if the second part hurts, that first part is a resolve. It's something that's just true about you. You hear footsteps. Carla, Zdenek, probably back from the errand you sent them to run. And you breathe and go and see the tea's ready. Go to pour it. What do you do with this little creature? Do you just set him back down? Or...
I think she hears the footsteps and knows Carla and Zdenek are coming back. And she's been doing a lot of having hard conversations with her kids for the last couple of weeks. And there's a little, like, part of her, even though she does not understand what this spren is or what it's doing or if it'll just disappear again soon. She's just tired, and she doesn't want to explain or try to explain one more thing she can't explain. And she also almost wants to save this little moment of, like, not even levity, but like something different. And so she raises the hand a little bit higher. If you're going to follow me around, might as well make it easier on you. And, like, doesn't, like, push him anywhere, but sort of, like, lifts her hand toward her shoulder in an offer to, like, let him perch there, sort of tucked away behind her hair.
Yeah. The little spren climbs into what would become its perch for the next 10 years as it settles in. And as your footsteps get louder and you think about the hard conversations you've had with your children, and probably more, it looks to you and, like, grunts almost approvingly, but there's another sort of message with it. Strong. Be strong for them. Be as strong as you can, even if it feels like you can't be that strong. We flash back to this moment where you feel that little stone hand on your neck from behind, hidden by your hair, and hear at least that same grunt. Be strong as you can for them.
I think in that memory, thinking on that memory as she comes back to the present, and, like, hearing that, does almost the ritual that she's now done many, many times over the last 10 years, often over a cup of tea, of, like, sort of inhaling over the tea, making sure it's done, and in doing so, like, taking that deep breath and to going through the mental motions of putting the pieces together enough so that they'll continue to hold when you're exhausted and you're like so emotionally worn down from everything, but you know that you literally do not have the option to stop. You get used to just sort of holding it together and pushing it down as much as you need to keep moving. And that's become a ritual for her in the last 10 years, and she just does that. And lets out that deep breath and turns to pour the tea.
Yin, Torl, and your little bickering comes to a stop as the tea is poured, and you look back at Tilira, expecting something.
I think she lets the quiet go for a little bit longer. Like stealing those last few seconds of like, I don't have to explain this thing. But finally looks up at each of your faces. First of all, I don't know how the glowing works. And then sets down the tea on the table and gestures for you all to take a cup.
And Yin will sit and get comfortable because she feels like this is, even though that first explanation of, I don't know what that is, it's not super helpful. She expects that this might take a little while, so she takes a cup, settles herself, lets the leaf get comfortable in her lap. And she's like, when did it start? How did you know you could do that?
That specifically...
No, Leaf is not in her lap. Leaf is on the roof. Never mind. I forgot my own lore. Sorry.
Leaf on guard duty. That specifically, I didn't know I could do. Not exactly. It's... I haven't done much with this, whatever it is. It's not something I've really spent time thinking about. And I think there's a little bit often, like, it's not the kind of thing that creeps into her tone frequently, but there's definitely a little bit of that, like, oh, like, as I say this thing, I realize that, like, that's not a great thing to say. And it's because she can, like, feel where Nook is standing on her shoulder, still tucked away. But it's been a while. A long while. At least bits of it. She kind of pauses a little bit. Is Nook, like, very much still staying hidden?
Yeah, it's staying hidden. Basically, you can get the impression from Nook that he's like, this is your moment, and it's up to you to take a step forward after you haven't for so long.
Yeah. I think it started during the siege. But it's been slow. I've never done anything like that before. Not really.
This siege, 10 years back.
Yes. Started is a strong word. I think that's the beginning. That was the beginning. But not much has happened since then. Until now.
What did it feel like when you threw a spear so hard that you skewered a white spine to the wall?
You did what?
Oh, you should have seen her. It was crazy. As Torlin sits down and takes his own drink. Like, I mean, you do the glowing thing as well as I don't know how you did that. How you made the glyph show up.
Yep.
I mean,
There's
for
a
someone who
glyph.
hasn't, I think that's what it was. For someone who said they didn't practice it much, you seem, I mean, proficient in it.
I don't practice much, and I certainly don't throw spears on the regular. It was something of a lucky strike. But
Yura can see Yin is just sort of, other than the, she did what? um, is like listening to what's happening. There is a sort of like look on her face as she's sort of like, just sort of like turning the cup in her hand of, oh, so you showed up wounded to combat, not knowing that you could do crazy glowing lady stuff, and you thought that that was just, you're just gonna be fine. But she's not saying anything.
Wait, what did you say again? Did you convey that you couldn't do that before?
She just said I haven't done anything specifically like that before.
Okay.
Very vague about it all.
Yeah. You see, Terravon's expression has been complicated ever since the 10 years thing. Like,
sorry, Terravon.
Does my mother know? Does Brightness Havar know? Has it been part of the plan?
There is a moment of deliberation before she looks at him in the eye. No one knows, Terravon. I hardly even know what this is about. I don't know what this is. And until now, nothing much has happened, and so there wasn't anything to tell.
You try.
This is the, yeah, that.
Try what? To throw spears at white spines?
Something. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is cool as hell, but cool as damnation. But it'd be such a waste if you didn't do anything with it. You didn't
I'm going to
do
spend a
anything with
fear, Torlin, on the I don't know. Take a stress.
Yeah.
Her hand tightens around her teacup. I've been busy in the last 10 years. And breathing in stormlight or whatever I do hasn't exactly been at the forefront of my priority list.
Is that what it was? You breathed in stormlights. You didn't know how it worked, so you could have tested it. So when you said you didn't know, that was you.
There's a look on her face of like open. I think she looks at Yin, and there's a look that like she would never have let Yin see when she was younger, of just like almost helplessness, because she does not know how to talk about this.
Yin also doesn't know how to talk about it. I think they sort of like meet eyes, and Yin is just sort of like has that same sort of like, what do I do now expression that she had when she was 15 years old and first stepping into Rathalas. I'm like, I don't. Okay.
Terravon
But I think
sees... Oh yeah, go for it.
No, I think she takes a breath of her own. Something she's seen Yura do for many years and is sort of adopting it in this moment because she doesn't know what else to do. She's like, Does this hurt you at all?
No. No, it feels like nothing I've ever felt before. Like being full of life and energy and strength.
Then why, as you just kind of see on Torlin's face, the anger that's constantly mingling with just trying to reason where Talia is coming from, and it's just not working. Because I don't think Talia would be blind to the fact that Torlin looks up to Talia in the sense of the same way Torlin looks up to his mother, of this person who always makes the right decision.
Oof.
And he just doesn't understand what could possibly have led someone so smart to push away something that could have been so helpful to more people than just herself.
Caravan, seeing that anger almost blossom in her expression, and also seeing that Yin is having trouble confronting Talia about this, because it's just like you're not the person to confront someone you see as your mother. Caravan's just like, oh, there has to be explanation for this. Torlin, I'm sure that Brightness Renal tried in her best effort to see if this could be an asset for her mission. This is something.
Did she?
I'm sure.
Can you say that with full faith?
She did her best, and it's nothing that she hid purposely. Just something that took time and looks at you, Talira. Talira, give me an instinct reaction roll.
Wow. Caravan is trying so hard to gun for a hero right now.
Okay. With a 23 with hope, you don't mark stress, but you do see it in his expression, as Taravan is very much like, no, this, like, there's definitely, he's like making your case as like, oh yeah, no, you have done something, you've done whatnot, and you can see behind his eyes that he's thinking of someone else and not you in this moment.
No.
He is thinking of another mentor figure that he believed, would not like hide or like be against him in any way. And so there must be a reason. There must be something that he just can't understand, just because he either is too young or didn't experience or just didn't ask enough.
Does she know what happened to Palin?
Yes, Dial would have told you. And Dial would have been very scathing about it.
I think seeing him in distress a little bit because she cares about him, but it's not like seeing Yin like trying to explain her. I don't know. I think it just pulls her out a little bit of the like emotional reaction she's having to the moment, and she tries to take another breath. Taravan.
Yes. This sure would be an explanation, and I'm sure, Torlin, if you just give her the time, unlike... And he, like, goes out and looks...
Thank you.
I don't need to thank me, like...
But... The war that is going on inside her right now is honesty, is like full disclosure really the right move here? Because if she does that, she gives up power, and it's not that she wants power over Torlin and Yen and Taravan, it's just that like she is the adult figure, and she's like, you don't just tell people you're looking after like when you are lost and hurt and don't know what to do, because like when you do need them to listen to you, like there's that fear of like, if I show them that I am not, that I have flaws this deep, like will they actually listen to me when it counts? And so like even the and she's looking between the three of them.
Torlin puts his drink down in this just moment of silence as people are trying to figure out what to do, as his anger properly takes root. No, you know what the issue is, I think, Taravon? I think the issue is that she was okay with lying to us. She was okay with lying to us for a decade. And if she could, and if fate hadn't pushed her hand with how it did in that white swine fight, she would have continued. Because she doesn't trust us.
Taravon looks like, how dare you say these words? And he's just like looking at you, Taliro, of like, how dare he, like, you know, like trying to like read like a same of like, oh yeah, just tell him that's not true, right?
I think there's a little bit of a just a quiet, like, not really a laugh, but like a laugh at a joke that is not a joke and is not funny, of like, that is so far from having anything to do with this. And her eyebrows kind of furrow in like a come on now a little bit. Torlin, my trust in you is so far from any reason why I kept this to myself.
Totally.
This
I'm gonna spend the fear because she did not
Yeah.
deny it, and they all already questioned your trust last night. Like, should they trust you? You fucking did something that, you know, from their eyes, it's like, yeah, we're not gonna trust you moving forward. Is basically what she's saying. Take another stress.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tiller, you can keep going.
The reason I've never talked about this to anyone is because I don't know how. Because I don't know what is going on. Or what I can do or can't do, or how to find out. And it is not... What matters to me is Rathalas and keeping every...
If all that matters to you is Rathalas, and this isn't something you would overlook. Something you would push to the side just because you didn't know how to explain it. You'd figure out how. You'd find a way to.
By what? Training in secret? Telling people I can glow and do things I can't explain? Torlin, when people do things like that, others don't. This isn't the kind of thing people understand or look upon kindly or with curiosity. This is the kind of thing that Voidbringers do. And I won't bring suspicion or...
You said you don't think this is whom people would look kindly on. And that's why you didn't share it with us. You said that we wouldn't look kindly on it, that you don't trust us. That's what you said.
That's not
You
at
can't
all.
backpedal. You can't use your words at this point. That is what you said. Try to tell me I'm wrong, and looks towards Taro and Yin too. Is that not exactly what you're trying to say? That you couldn't trust us enough to possibly even help with this, or even harbor a secret?
Torlin?
No, rather you'd say buried in your work. What?
I'm going to say this not as a cruelty, but to me, you are still a child. And I think that you have what it takes to be here, but you are not the person that I would put my problems onto. That is why I She looks at him and looks at Tara. In 10 years, I cannot begin to explain what I have been through or the things that I have and have not confessed to others. But that's not for you to take on. It's not about trust or about what I think you can or can't handle. This is just a problem that someone who is much older than you has been trying to deal with. And I don't know how to talk about it. And that is on me.
His gaze falls, and not in the way that like it lost its bite, but more of a knowing pain that even if it wasn't intended, the cruelty wasn't intended, it was inflicted.
Yin, Lark, what's Yin's expression, thought process as she sees this exchange?
Yin is sort of watching this conversation as like and I think it's one of those things where they're like, oh yeah, be careful how you talk about XYZ people because you never know like who's gay or whatever. And she's like, okay, so I can never talk about this. Okay, great.
Oh no.
But she's also like, but no, wait, like, are we Voidbringers? Is that how they happen? Also, like, she's opened her mouth to like say something a couple of times, but after like sort of back and forth between the three of them, she's sort of like just sort of fallen silent and is watching everything happening and sort of trying to figure out how she feels about the situation. I think eventually she does sort of speak up. We don't actually no she doesn't. No, she doesn't because yeah, no.
Okay.
She opens her mouth again and is just quiet listening to this because she doesn't know how to feel about any of it.
Then, as you're quietly listening, you hear clicks outside as Leaf is notifying you.
Yin will stand up and hold up her hand to like silence everybody, and she's gonna like, someone's coming. Whatever feelings we have about this conversation, we can have later.
Yura nods. She's still looking at Torlin. And I think the reason she can't look away from him is because she's reliving all of the moments she's had with Carla, where like she could not get through to her daughter, who was so angry at so many things. And like there's just such a disconnect of like experience and understanding, and like watching someone who you care about, who you want to protect and take care of, and who you want to like be able to guide and help, just like cut themselves off from you in a way where it's like you've lost like the almost like the privilege of being that person for them, because like Torland is so young and is like still so much in the process of becoming a person, and like she wants to help him and wants to be there for him, but like she sees how angry he is and how much like that relationship, even though it was never strong in the first place, is like slipping away. And so she's just watching him still, like every time with Carla before, not being able to find the words to fix it.
A moment later, the door bursts open as Mina runs in, and she like looks at you. I heard, and looks straight at you again and says, "You did it?"
Again, is the whole room can see the whiplash on her face before she's able to fully cover it. And she will nod. Yes, we killed both white spines. You don't have to worry about them anymore.
You killed two? I heard the elder telling my parents that it was that you killed two?
Yin is like, there was two, and will give like a 6-8-year-old version of the story of like how cool everybody was.
Mina is beaming as she comes over to you, and it's like, it's hard for all the tension in the room is there, but it's hard for it to make itself known because you just have this 6-year-old girl who is listening to a story that you're all in, and is just cooing and oohing and eyeing at everything. And she does draw Osprey as she draws Osprey as she's listening to the tale, and is like, you see, thrilled at the story, feeling emotion, and she just says like, "You did. You. My sister can rest now. And you see like edges of tears, but they're like tears of joy / tears of remembrance, and it's just like contagious sort of happiness of just, thank you so much."
I think you just gives her like a big hug. It is like, I don't even know if she says anything. I think she's just like gives her this big hug and sort of like wipes away like a little tear of her own. And she's like, so now it's your job to tell this story to everybody else.
She like smiles up at that as she comes out of the hug and like, yeah, I need to tell everyone because you guys did so much. And it will look at each of the rest of you, and like a kid not being able to realize like how tense emotions might be, looks at Teravon, who is like also like kind of like whiplashed, and just like, thank you so much, Bright Lord, and thank you, Brightness, looking at you, Talira, and thank you also, Bright Lord. Thank you for coming to this village.
Well, thank you guys for treating us so well. But she looks over at Yura and Torlin, like sort of like stage whispers to Mina, and is like, but they need some rest now because it took a lot out of them. So maybe we should let them get some sleep. Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Thank you again. And sorry. And looks at Torlin, who's like bandaged up, and says, "Sorry you got hurt, but get some rest. You'll feel better."
Yeah. I'll feel better.
Thank you. I'm going to tell everyone the story.
Yeah, tell that story, kiddo. And she will apologize for Torlin as a person. She's like, sorry about him. He's very cranky when he's trying to recover. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you guys are going to be okay now, and she's like trying to not cry, because there's so much happening, and also like the loss of like Silu, it's just like all sort of like bundled up. She doesn't want to dump that on a kid, and she's like, it's like, but I'll talk to you later, okay? So, you go and tell that story, and make sure you can act it out if you want to. You can do be the best storyteller you possibly can.
Ooh, yeah, I can act it out. And she's suddenly like her eyes are like unfocused and thinking in her head, like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you guys tonight, right? Yeah. And she's like almost doesn't even wait for an answer and starts scrambling out. See you tonight. And we'll run off.
See you tonight. And she'll close the door again and sort of look back to everyone else, and we're all sort of like, what the fuck just happened?
Is there something tonight we know about?
I will actually take this chance to be like, as you all let the tension leave your bodies from that argument, not wanting to pick it up again after all that, settle into resting and making plans of when to set off and all the things you need to think about now that the White Spine is dealt with. And eventually, when you go out later, you do know that the bodies are being burned tonight, both of Silu and the militiamen and the captain, as a final way of setting them off. But whereas it would have been much sadder, it seems the villagers are talking about it in somber tones, but more accepted tones than they would have if the danger was still out there. As the next few
I would
hours,
like to say that when Yin told the story and made everyone seem cool, she did include the other people, like all the people that are being burned, so that because like she's like, yeah, if we stay in their like collective memory, that's fine, it's cool, whatever, but like these are the people that matter to them, this is the stories that they need to tell. So Mina has been going around telling everyone how cool these fucking dudes were.
Yeah, and that also probably brings up the mood as people are remembering these people and remembering not just how they lived, but what they stood for, thanks to these last few moments that are shared with them when otherwise it would not. Next few hours pass, and you all, if you wish, attend the burial. And it's somber night. Dark Eyes do not have a big funeral rite. Dark Eyes are burned as a way for, not to cause death, death spren and plague spren to infest the bodies. But more than one villager makes sure to seek one of you out and thanks you. And by the end of the night, you don't know all their names, but at the very least have been thanked by at least half a dozen villagers. And it's hard to focus on all your worries as it becomes a night about remembering those fallen and remembering that you did do a good thing here.
Yura, I think, sort of for most of the night, shifts into the business mode, which for her is being friendly and kind and listening, and like participating as she knows in the way that she knows she's supposed to. But as the night stretches on and like people have done their rounds and like thanked them and like engaged them in conversation and then moved on, she kind of moves a little bit to the edge of the light and of the crowd and is just sort of watching the fire, because and like quiet sort of contemplation, because seeing this kind of fire, she can't help think of all of the fires that they had after Rathalas.
What about the rest of you? Where are your thoughts during these proceedings?
I think Torlin recovers enough to interact with people, and it's not as like socially fluent as Tilira is, but still can be himself with people and actually properly accept things now a little bit more as it goes around. A lot of also copying what Yin and Tilira said about thanking them in return for letting them stay and being so hospitable. But in the back of the mind, as he just kind of stares at the fire in between moments, it's not that he feels guilty for what he said to Tilira, but he does feel shame. Because despite all the scathing words he said, Tilira did more there than he did. Tilira has made more of an impact over the last 10 years than he did. And subconsciously, he does just kind of have to accept the fact that he's a kid in comparison to these people. And that just makes him angrier. Now the anger just has a target shared between both the now reinstated caravan leader as well as himself.
Yin. The night
Yes.
stretches on. Villagers are heading to bed. There's a fire that's still going, but the original fire, has been fully cremated. The body's now ashes, and the ashes set aside. I think Teravon finds you, and you see a softer expression on his face as he's taking in, like, this leg of your journey, this visit to this town, this small, inconsequential town on your guys' quest, and taking in what it actually means to still have affected things here. And says, Yin, I wanted to thank you for, the White Spine. You helped set me up for the final strike.
You're the melee fighter. I'm just doing my job. Besides, I knew you'd be able to keep it from tearing me apart, so I was in good hands.
At least one of us knew. And I think he lets the moment silence draw out a bit and says, I've been afraid for I don't know how long that in a moment like that I'd freeze up and wouldn't be able to do anything again. Just like when my father died.
Ian, I think they're both just sort of like looking into like the embers of like the fire that's still going. Ian's just you know, sitting on like a rock or something, sitting on the ground. I think there was a time when I wasn't sure if I would run, because when I was your age and younger, that's what I did. And there's a part of me still that worries that that's baked into me somehow. But when it's people that I care about, and that she looks around at like the townspeople that are still milling about or maybe heading home. She's like, and that number seems to be growing by the day. There's something in me, at least, that makes my legs move before I think I even know what's happening sometimes. And I hope you can find that in yourself also. And I think you did. Because I'm still here.
He looks at you as you're still looking to the embers, and knowing your history, I think he finally like aligns it with his experience and says it, and he's like hesitating to almost say this, but it says it hurts being the one to live when someone important to you dies.
It does. And
Felt if I wasn't so powerless back then, I wouldn't have. My mother cried over his dead body, and I stood with his sword one last time before, and you see it, the anger rile up, and it seems like he holds something back here. You can tell that he doesn't speak the fully what he is thinking internally, and says, when the blade was taken and I couldn't do anything with my father's killer right in front of me, for a long time, and maybe still now, it hurt being the one to live. And you can tell he is like, he's a kid, and so he's probably tumbled with this for 10 years because it's not something he can speak out loud, but it's like his father was a better ruler than he is putting the bravado of trying to become, and it's just a kid can't help but thinking of like, oh, why did I live? And instead of like, it would have been okay if I died and my mother wouldn't have to cry, and my father would have had the strength where I didn't.
Yin lets him talk, because I think like she definitely recognizes the fact that like, oh, this is like the first time that he's not been around like his parents and people that he has to perform for. Like he can just like talk about what he's feeling, so she lets him go. But as he sort of like, you know, comes to a stop, she reaches out and puts a hand on his shoulder, sort of like maybe like a one-armed hug kind of thing. It was like, you and I were children when our losses happened. And I might not remember my mother's face. But I know I do remember my mother's face. Hold on. Whose faces don't I remember?
Your brother.
Your brother, yeah. And I might not remember my brother's face. But I know for a fact that my family and your father are happy that we are still here. That you have a chance to become the person, the ruler that you want to be, that you think that he wants you to be. It will not stop hurting.
You were still stronger
Sorry,
than
go
me.
ahead.
As a child, you made this whole journey all the way from those mountains, that jungle, from the west all the way here. I was ferried. I don't understand.
You held a sword probably twice your size at your father's murderer, which is something child me would never have done. We take our bravery where we can, and we don't judge the rest. You have people here that and I'm sorry that you get to deal with the part of being a ruler that is the world wanting something from you, but you also have people that would just like you to be happy, if that's all right, and have this life that, you and I get to live. Mean something for us, whatever that means.
That is true. We're lucky to have people to lean on.
And you do.
Even when something isn't right, it's important to know that there are those we can get through it with together. I think you two share the continued moments of silence as the embers die down, and Teravon gains hope in your words, as I'm going to take that something isn't right in a different meaning in this case, in that something isn't right. The world...
Sorry, you cut out a little bit for me. I didn't hear what you said.
My bad. Okay. Teravon is going to take hope in your words as he takes a lesson from this moment, as something isn't right. The experience you impress on him isn't just the fact that, the world is dangerous and a cruel place, but there are others that can help you through all those shitty times.
Yeah. Also, I heard all of that, but for some reason now you sound very far away.
Oh no. Hello. Test.
You're deafened. Before it was fine. It was just like every once in a while, if the microphone was peaking or something, it was just part of a word get cut off. It wasn't crazy bad.
Okay. What? I will look out for make sure my mic is lighting up, and we'll play with the actual settings later.
Sounds good.
Nice. But yeah, you guys close off another night of rest and emotions, and find yourselves to bed and thinking on the next day. I want to take a moment to say that you guys did such a good job. That was very emotional, and I implore you, I am impressed by the emotions and arguments. It's hard to play conflict. You guys did great.
I need a drink.
Above table, completely fine with it, but deeply upsetting that Torlin and Yura's relationship has degraded thus.
Yeah. But also, so fucking realistic that this kid's oh yeah, I'm mad at you. Maybe I'm mad at myself. I can be mad at both.
Literally what I'm doing with Vanna right now. And I'm God, I'm on the other end of it. the out of character realization of like, fuck, it's Carla all over again.
Oh, that one hurt.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's like, but it's also like the question, like it's like you're up against the rock at the hard place of like, all right, am I going to do the same thing again, or am I going to make a change this time to try to do something different?
Her like, I would love to be honest with you, but I also don't know what to say.
Oh, speaking of which, Ash, you want to say what you did?
Sure. Do you remember when I spent a fear and had Torlin? Like, me and Belle talked about Torlin a bit, so I will say this now, right? In terms of like, oh yeah, he respects Talira as being as smart as his mother, right?
Oh.
And Torlin, I would check, is actually has the highest int in the party, right? The knowledge. And so he's like, considers Talira as like actually smarter than him. And I told Belle, based on this, whenever you said, I don't know, he had to mark a stress.
I hate that. When I was literally talking for like a while and I was just watching +1 stress, +1 stress.
Going on. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. I was like, yep, anytime she says it, you're mark a stress. I messaged him that, like, yeah.
I do want some point with, like, if there's a moment where Yin could be like alone somewhere, either this night or like early in the morning the next morning. She does want to ask Chime, are we the baddies? Are we?
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Well, I think
are we perfect... Are you bad?
I do think that's a perfect way to jump back into it, but I will say, as you guys rest, you do have the option if you wish to take a short rest or long rest, as you spend time in the village before setting out.
I would appreciate a short rest.
I really want my inspirational words tokens back, but I'm too scared to take a long rest.
What's the worst that could happen? 7 fear?
Oh, if you take a long rest, he gets a fear?
He gets
several.
He gets a million fear.
I don't get a million fear. The rules,
I get
1d4 plus number of players. Because
so you get 5 to 7. That's not math. You get 4 to 7.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll take a short rest.
A short rest, he just gets a d4.
Yeah, it can be super low.
It's not going to be super low.
Wait, do I even need to take a rest right now? I'm full of hope. I only have one.
Well,
Yin came out of that fight very okay. Not these other two.
Yeah, yours fine.
I'm fine.
You're stressed as fuck.
That's normal. That's normal.
Yeah, that is normal.
I'm his parent.
Can I catch up other people?
Yeah.
I can do the stallions.
Yes, you can do those things to allies.
Torlin, how you feeling?
I mean, I have... Yeah, not great. I lost 3 HP. I'm trying to think of any way to spend that. No, I'm hurted.
Feeling bad.
Yeah.
All right, so I will tend to your wounds and clear my stress.
Appreciate it.
Equal to 1d4 plus my tier.
So
what is my
1d4
tier?
plus 2.
1d4 plus 2. Okay.
I think
Sweet.
Well, there is a short rest button as well, just so you guys know, on the top right of your character.
Oh, I didn't hit take the downtime, so I didn't realize it would actually do anything. Cool. I have no stress, which is a falsehood, but
okay, Torlin, you should be at full health thanks to the patching up, because either way it's +2, so 3 hit points back.
Thank you, Yin.
Oh, Yin, we've been ignoring this ability. You have
my extra thing.
Yes, you always have an extra downtime maneuver.
Yeah. Oh shit! So when it says I have 3, that means I have 3, right? Doesn't mean that I have 4.
Yeah, you have 3. Yeah, normally you would have 2.
Okay, so I guess I could prepare with other people so that we could all gain hope, unless everyone is full up on hope.
I am not full on a hope.
Also not
I
full
would be
up on
super
hope.
done for fair.
I was gonna clear stress twice if I can. Is that allowed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
I do want to hear what she's doing to clear stress.
I don't know.
Just more planning, more counting what we have in cargo.
She's plotting the route we take to the next city 5 million times. And then counting everything in the cart and then recounting it and then making a manifest and then double checking the manifest.
Yin walks in on Yura doing that and is like, I'll leave you to it. And she's supposed to do something else. She's like, our ideas of clearing stress are not the same.
Talking to herself out loud while doing it, having a full blown conversation. The conversation's with Nook, but it sounds like it's with herself.
I will say,
Oh my
as you're
God.
working, that first activity clears your stress, right? The first time. The second time you try to clear stress with that, Nook pinches your cheek, like this is late at night, and he like forces you to drag yourself out, and it's like, no, 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 you need to do something else, not a good mechanism to feel better. You know what I do?
You're a
My
rock.
family
What do you know
does.
about feeling better?
Rocks know everything. How many times I've tell you this? We see everything.
Rocks know everything.
Okay,
Everything.
what do rocks do to feel better?
We, in the mountains, sing songs, make music. Don't you have that little flute thing?
You sing songs.
Yes, very good song.
Is that what
Maybe.
avalanches are?
I mean, son, you can't say that to a rock.
What'd you say?
Since she said, is that what avalanches are?
You know, we get sometimes too into it, right?
Uh,
Mm.
you're, you're,
Shit. Yira spins around.
Yin is at the door, having been like, I should leave. And I was like, no, I can't leave mom like this. It's like, do you, if you're busy, that's okay, but do you want, why don't, I was gonna go get like a drink and maybe like, I don't know, hang out with everybody. Do you want to come with?
I was
Nook
just
jumps off your shoulder into your little satchel, and Yin, you see uh, a little like ovalish flute ocarina just tumble out of the satchel onto the ground.
oh, come on.
Well, yeah, I didn't realize that you brought that with you. Like maybe we could you know, play some music, take a break. So a break is when you don't work.
Yira snatches the ocarina off the ground and starts walking, stomping toward the barn.
And
And
so
Ian's like, I think that was successful. Hell yeah.
a night of revelry ensues as you're forced to play the ocarina for the villagers that have never heard an ocarina before. They don't get many entertainers out here.
It takes um it there's definitely a horrible adjustment period where like of the kind of person who does not unwind at the party, who like is physically resisting being there and doesn't let it go for a little bit too long, and then finally like as she starts to relax a little bit and like accept that she is trapped here, sort of a little bit of her old self comes back in that way of like, I am with new people in a new place and there are like stories to tell and things to learn. And like this is the kind of thing she used to love and has not really let herself enjoy in a very long time. Um, and it probably takes some coaxing, but eventually she like plays a song and then like gets into conversation. And I think as like the night gets older, like as time goes on, ends up telling stories of like her sailing days and like sings a couple of sea shanty type songs and like tells a story or two about like uh being a teenager like on a tall ship like seeing a great shell for the first time.
Yin is like having a good time. She's like dancing, talking with people, but she's watching her mom out of the corner of her eye the whole time. And as she's like coming out of her shell, like finally allowing herself to just like be herself, and have a good time. It's like this. There's a stress in her back that sort of just melts away a little bit. I'm like, okay, great, she can still do this. Um, it's not something she's lost forever. We're good. We're good. We're good.
She's not totally broken. Not all the
Listen,
way.
it is a child's job to worry about their over workaholic parents.
And so, a night of festivities does help with the stress. Oh, you can reset, because I think if you're using both of those, your stress would be at 0, Talera, as it's alright to just forget about your worries, at least for tonight. Torlin, what are you using your activities on?
Definitely use one of them to clear stress. And the other one, I'm going to use for repair.
Okay. How are you relieving some stress?
There's a good option here, there's a bad option here.
Don't do the drugs. Don't do the drugs.
Can we revisit that one after we do the prepared one? Just like
Sure. How are you
just do one
preparing?
a little bit longer? Because this one I did have an idea for. I think I'd want to get both Yin and Terravon's help with us, which is Torlin's still upset at Talira, but just doesn't. The wind is out of the sails because of the glorious little child that Mina is.
Yes.
But a big thing that he was upset at her for is not figuring this shit out. So his kid brain was like, okay, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna figure this shit out. And the best he could come up with is the fact that, okay, she said she took in Stormlight, we should go get Stormlight. So wants to get Terramon and Yin's help of just trying to round up Stormlight. Of like, okay, trading in Dun Spheres for infused ones, trying to see what they can get, see when the next high storms are, that kind of thing.
Well,
To
I will say then, on that note, right, as you have this conversation and whatnot, you do like sneak into the papers that, because Tulare keeps the storm charts, Yin can read them, and you do see there's a high storm approaching, and in the next day or two, you guys are prepared to at least refuse all your spheres with Stormlight.
Are you guys gonna sigil me? What's happening?
What?
as Torlin is consciously coming at this from a place of anger, of like, fuck it, we're gonna do it now, because Tilia didn't do this the whole time.
How hard could it possibly be?
Yeah.
Terravon is like, oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, subconsciously, he's still a kid. That shit was cool as hell. He really wants to see it happen again.
Terravon's like, all right, well, you were the closest to it, Torlin. What did you see? Did it just, like, the Stormlight? I don't know. She said she breathed it in? Did she have to, like, breathe a sphere? Do we...
Maybe. Or, here, and it just holds it up to Terravon's face. Here, breathe. Try.
I don't think that's gonna what? Okay, you're way too close to my face. How is
Leaf is like, I'll do it.
yeah, Leaf perks up. What is Yin's like state in this sort of conversation? Like,
She feels kind of like what's the kid's name from Stranger Things? Steve. Where she's like the older kid that's like, what are we doing? Why are you shoving? Why are you trying to shove a sphere into Terravon's mouth? What are we doing?
Oh, maybe Terravon didn't know he could do this thing too. Julia didn't realize or didn't know, quote unquote. So,
but she like the part of her that's like, because Yura was like, this is stuff that Voidbringers do. That has been sort of living in her head rent free, but also just like the fear of what would happen if people found out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think Corlin is thinking about that. Of like,
nope.
We don't know what this is. People don't react to things they don't know well. As a person who came from a family of travelers would know well. And I think she's just sort of like trying to protect them from letting things out before, from either saying too much, being too loud, or stepping their foot into something they can't put out. But she is not releasing any information about herself.
Yeah.
And
So
about
you're
Chime.
involved kind of like as a chaperone, because you know if you said like don't do this, they would do it without you.
Do it without me, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's just trying to make sure that Leaf doesn't eat all the stormlight that they're collecting, and then that's kind of her job.
Mm-hmm. You guys set a basket, clothed, light all your spheres, come out the next morning, and are having this conversation. And it's just like, okay, I cannot breathe that in. I don't even know how you breathe glass. But what is the plan, Torlin?
well, it looks towards Yin.
Yin's looking at him like, you woke me up to come do this.
Yeah, but it's your mom. Okay, fine. We go, march up to her, put down the basket, and say breathe, and then we run tests, and we run a bunch of tests, and then Ian, you can write things down, and we can
And we
report
run
it back.
away. Because I get her ass beat by. Yeah, okay.
What? Does she not want to figure out her abilities?
She better want to after everything.
I think she puts her hand out just like into Torlin's face for a second to get him to stop talking. She's like, we have to remember that you, specifically you, Caravan, are going to be the face of an entire city if everything goes well. Yura is trying to protect you and all of the people involved in this from whatever connotations her ability has.
Of course, but we've been doing things in secret for Almighty knows how many years. We can just
and you know what's not very secret? You know what's not very secret? Glowing. And you know what Palin and everybody else who's a part of what is it? Is it out of character? Is it the church? The what?
Yeah, the Vorn Church, and Palin was an Ardent, so he's part of the Ardentia.
She's like, people like the Ardentia do not like Voidbringer stuff. They don't like stuff like, not that I'm saying that she's a Voidbringer, but she did mention the word. And if that's what people are going to take it as, that's not a good look for us. So she's trying to protect you from that, at least partially. Ian is like, yeah, well, like, let's be for real. Like, Yura is also like just avoiding the problem, but
You see, Torlin actually starts nodding at what Lark is. Oh, it's what? At what?
Lark is here now. I'm
Hi, Leaf. I know at what Yin is saying. Before, like, no, I think I get it. Don't worry, Terravon. What Yin is saying is that we jump till you're on the road with this to make sure she can't get away, and then no one can see. And does like the little thing of like fucking putting his fist into his palm. Perfect. Okay, that's the plan.
Yin looks at Leaf because there's no one else who's a part of this group who has a brain that she can talk to.
Terravon, like, after your guys' moment the other night, Yin, he seems like sympathetic to your reasoning and was nodding. and then you spoke a name, and he froze, and then he looks at Torlin and says, "You're right. We should figure things out, as we wouldn't want to be snuck up by things we couldn't predict. We'll make sure to do it safely. All right, we'll do this then in a few days."
Oh, boys. Boys.
All right.
I think, like, Yin does not tell Gira what's going on because, like, she doesn't want to, like, ruin their trust in her. There is a point, though, where, like, Gira's trying to plan out their trip or whatever, and Yin just comes in and, like, throws herself face down on, like, whatever pallet she's been sleeping on, and is like, "Why are boys so stupid?"
If I had figured that out, I would have told you, Yin.
Secrets of the universe.
As in the time after Taravon and Torlin plan, shenanigans like they've done, as children, gain that hope, as it feels good to be spinning this in a way that's not just anger and regret and emotions. Torlin.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice. Is that everyone's downtime stuff accounted for? Or you didn't do stress yet, Torlin? What you doing?
I think because of not being alone and actually having people to spend that time with, I think his clearing stress is going to be hanging out with Taravon. As like a part of that, stroll like gathering escapade, but just kind of outside of that too. Stuff they would do back when they were at home. But
I think after having spent like probably a week kind of mad at each other, you guys spend the next few days kind of like back to normal of like, friends.
Normal argument.
Yeah, normal like banter back and forth.
Yeah.
There is one night in like the 3 days that we are resting before we head out of Yin being like, "All right, mandatory fun. Everybody's coming with me. We're all going out."
Holy shit.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Would they have been there at the tavern then?
Oh, maybe. Oh. Maybe she was like, all right, you legally have to come with me now. And so do you. We're all going.
Hear me out. I think it'd be really funny if that was like, Tulia and Yin went together, and then when they were there, either like saw Torlin and Taravon walk in, or they were there already, and just kind of staring at each other from across the lobby or across the.
I think
across the bar.
And Talira were there, and Talira had finally given in to playing her ocarina, and when she was focused on that, Yin, you see Torlin and Taravon like walking through the streets, and you go grab them, and just in background behind the audience of villagers that are listening, you guys all listen to Talira's ocarina.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Man, we're so good at this. We're so good at being happy and awesome.
So good at being happy and awesome.
So good at not being stressed.
Yeah.
Is it time for the cursed fear roll?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll roll a 1.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Nope. Is my foundry broke? What's going on?
Maybe.
Foundry says, "No more fear for you."
No.
Not my fear.
Okay.
So you'll refresh it just fine.
Yeah, I reloaded. Maybe we are good now.
There we go. Okay.
That's not that much.
Oh, that so you could slide across though was scary though.
I don't like it.
Every time it moved.
This fucked up abacus of fate.
I'm gonna spend a fear. Torlin, after that night of festivities, you find yourself wandering alone, and you enjoyed your time, and you just reflect a bit as you are all heading out. You're heading out the next day, and it was nice to get one night, fresh air, good laughs, good times in. And you reflect and think of the battle. Think of jumping into that white spine. What's going on in Torlin's head as he remembers that decision?
He's trying to figure out why he did it. Because he has a reason in his head of like, oh, it just makes things easier. I should have been able to take care of the sleeping white spine while everyone else takes care of the one outside. But then why did he do something like say there wasn't a white spine there at all? That was a blatant lie. That's something that if they just looked inside afterwards would be able to prove false. Was it because, like Terabon said, he wanted glory? No, it can't be right. And it's just this creeping sense of shame that starts building up again. Of he did the wrong thing again. And someone had to cover his ass again. And worst of all, he doesn't even feel like he has a proper reason for it.
You consciously can't understand why you did it. Were you trying to prove something? You go to bed with those thoughts, and sleep finds you. A dream finds you, and you stare on the opposite wall of the rift. You see the competitors running across the platforms, dashing up the Shardcut run. It's Middlefest. You're a kid. You're cheering on your mother and father stand along the gallery on the opposite side as you watch the I keep cutting out. As you watch the competitors, and you see a ruffled hair, black Kalahar running across, making good strides. This is his year. He got this. What is going through Torlin's head as he's in this moment, cheering for his brother?
He is trying his best to cheer the loudest for his brother. No one else can outdo him right now. He is screaming his little lungs out.
So small, such a high voice, and you are cheering. Kalar's doing hard. He has quite a bit between other competitors, but then you see a streak of yellow, and you see nimble legs jumping through. This is the second Shardcut run between these two, and somehow, some way, your brother lost to this girl that got here literally last year. No, this is his year. He rushes and tosses, and you see them actually vying back and forth. A rivalry that you see that you did not, think of anyone as your brother's equal. What's going through his head?
I think just in his overactive mind, he's trying to come up with like nicknames for this person who's trying to be his brother, and trying to think of like stuff that obviously isn't too mean because he's a kid, so doesn't come to mind like that, but stuff that always ends up sounding a little bit too cool, and kind of building this kind of like rivalry up in his head to be even more than it is on paper, if that makes sense.
You see them dash and run and jump, and they're neck and neck as they draw to the finish line. And by a hair, like, you can't help but cheering on both of them because you can see your brother smiling from here, like, enjoying the race, enjoying the, like, competition, right? He doesn't want to be just, like, the forerunner and win without any competition. And he's beaten by a hair. The new girl you've seen around, the Iriali, I think you heard said, close to the Renals, dash up first, winning the race. The rest of the day, you meet back up with your brother. That girl's there. You learn her name is Yin. And they had, there weren't hurt feelings. It was very much like, a bit of banter back and forth of like, okay, you cheated here or did this there. It's like, you usually are used to your brother training really hard, being very respectful. Your father, your older brother, right, all focus on this, but you see him almost like enjoying himself. You spend the rest of the day tailing behind as you follow them through a lot of the rest of Middlefest. What is the day like for Torlin?
I think it's one of the fondest memories in his mind anymore, that even held to this day. It was a lot of just walking around, trying foods with these two as they chat, and he kind of hid into the background, but in a way that wasn't like he was trying to be sneaky. He just liked hearing those two. And also, he would always try and give that like nasty childish stick guy to Ian. And then Callahar would turn around and he'd be like whistle like nothing was happening. And just walking around every now and then doing again just some small thing like just running in front of the both of them just because he wanted to he felt like taking the lead, or going over to Ian and be like, you know, he would have beaten you if he wasn't like worried about like your reputation. And then Callahar would immediately refute that, be like, no, it was a fair and square race that Ian bested me in.
I feel like Yin and Portland have had to have raced at some point. Like eventually Yin's like, all right, kid, let's go.
Yeah, I think even that day, like even after Yin being tired, absolutely smokes this child.
You race. At this point, he is like 4 or 5 years old, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is like he's
Well,
just a
if he's
bundle of
4 or 5
energy.
years old, Yin is like very much play acting, being like, "Oh my god, he's beating me! Oh no, what's happening?" Like, "Oh, he's just so fast. What am I doing?"
That day is a treasured memory because you got to see another side of your brother. You got to see someone he respects and respects him, and a rivalry that was more than just, you know, duty and honor. And you wake up and don't remember your dream and can't just help but think, were you trying to prove yourself with the white twine? You don't know. It's better thoughts for next time. You all prepare. As things are ready, carriage is set, your chulls are freshly fed. Wow, my mic.
Honestly, it might be better to switch the other setting
Yeah.
he did have.
I might be a bit
Yeah, we
more
can move
quiet,
up,
but I'll
straight
just
up.
have. Yeah, I'll have my mic closer. You all prep the carriage with supplies and things that the village is able to provide. Your chulls are ready. The villagers are around and about, and you're all set to go. Yin. In the last 3 days, ever since she first stopped by, you actually have not been able to see Mina. Like, she hasn't come to visit again, which you thought she would. She, like, just hasn't been around when you've walked through, and you just haven't seen her.
Hmm.
And you realize you're about to set out, and, you, like, don't see her at the moment.
Uh, uh, Yin will sort of look to Leaf and be like, "Hey, can you find Mina? I just want to make sure I say goodbye." And send Leaf off to go find her.
He clicks with appreciation and flies into the air. The rest of you have basically prepared the carriage. Is there anything you want to do for sure before setting out from this village?
I think Yura checks in with Veda to thank them again. And it's part like formal, like I've been a guest in your home, and like obviously I wouldn't leave without a final like thank you and goodbye, but there's also she also checks if there's anything else they can do for the village as they move on to like larger towns, like if there's anything needing delivered, or like any message needing to be sent, any connection that needs to be made.
Okay. Veda, like, says, That's very kind of your brightness. No, I appreciate, honestly. If I'm sure, what did you tell him about the huntsman, by the way?
What
All
was
right, guys,
Ian's
what did we?
story? That he ran away? That he returned
Uh,
immediately to the Bright Lord?
yeah, Yids would have said that, or I guess we could have talked about it. Like we got our story straight, but
Yeah.
Yin would have said like, "Hey, I allowed him to leave to tell a really cool story about how he led us into battle, with the caveat that he doesn't mention anything about what we saw about anybody who could have potentially, theoretically, been glowing." Um, but I think we should probably just say that he returned to the capital. Or wherever it is that he was going.
Yeah. Then the official story is he returned immediately to his Bright Lord or to the High Lord's keep or whatever city the High Lord's in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, everyone else readily accept it, but in this conversation, Veda goes like, "Of course, brightness. No, appreciate it, and of course, if you do meet up with Huntsman Tovalar, let him know we are thankful for his efforts as well." And he like eyes you as if like, "Hey, I'm on your side. I'm not going to question anymore, but I don't think the huntsman would have just like left in the middle of the night without reason. I'm not going to pry, but like, hey, like, I'm on your side. I realize this and I'm letting you know."
Yeah.
Oh, pretty.
She sort of. There's maybe a little bit of an eyebrow raise.
Crankin is forever at your service.
Thank you. I don't know what story the good huntsman will bring to his Bright Lord, but I imagine he was at least a little bit shamed to be shown up by the good men of your village and by my companions. Perhaps that's why he had to report in such haste.
Of course, perhaps then he'd be too ashamed to even make that report. If the winds will it.
One can only hope that he learns to be quiet a little more often.
And you see him nod, but he doesn't say anything because he can't speak bad about Bright Luntus. As you say, brightness, fair journeys, and may the Almighty guide your path.
You as well. I hope that better times come upon your village. Thank you again for your hospitality.
He smiles and nods as, take a step back. He does stay in the area as you guys are about to set off. Torlin, are you doing anything as you're all about to set off soon?
I think on the last day, and I don't think it's one to be a full scene or anything, but he does go to visit the apothecary. And partially out of duty of like, okay, I should restock to see what they have, if there is anything that I can make use of. But also just in the spirit of what this de-stressification has been doing for him, of just kind of feeding that curiosity that he had as a kid. Just a little bit of seeing something about this village that he didn't visit before. But not too much, as he just tastes a little bit, see if there is anything worth picking up for the road before rejoining everyone.
Give me a roll. Your choice.
Sure. We'll do a knowledge roll here as
Sure. As
he just interacts
peruses,
with this.
the apothecary's ware,
Yeah.
sees if there's anything that stands out to him that she might not have noticed has value of a different kind.
Yeah, and I think if you'd allow me, I want to spend a hope to add on Dead Man's Botany for this.
Sure.
Right there.
Okay. Tell me, even if you don't have all the details now, at least what might you find. Basically something that I'll add to toxic concoctions that isn't going to be permanent until you have a source where you can get a lot more. But basically like the general nature of this, right? And you can even say like mechanically, is it damage stuff? Is it like stress stuff? Is it this stuff?
I think I want. I think just kind of reflecting on his experience in the silo itself. Something less lethal than his other poisons. Something more akin to sleeping medication.
Okay. You find this bluish sort of reedy plant that's been set aside, and the apothecary lets you know that like, oh yeah, the furry ends that are like, of cattails is usually used as tea and whatnot, but you've seen this plant before. The inside, the sap, is been used for a number of things. A weakening agent, a mystifying of the mind agent, and you consider how much it can be distilled from these few that you have. You purchase the basket of them, and with a bit of a pet project in mind, you bring them back to the caravan.
Just oddly cheery in a way that seems, what's it called? Like he doesn't have malicious, or not malicious. What's it called? Mischievous intentions. It's a weird look on him.
You return. You're all packed. You're all set. Yin, you look out and you Leaf hasn't come back, and then you spy him like on one of the roofs, just like watching you, and he's just like closest thing to a smile on his face, and he's just like sitting back and watching you. And
Ian goes over to get him because she's like, I asked you to do something. What are you doing?
You start taking a step towards him, and then you hear the footfalls, and says, "Wait, don't go yet." And you see Mina running up in a hurry. Says, "It took me a bit. I'm just." She catches her breath.
Okay, it's okay. You get breath. You're okay. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm good. It took me longer. I messed up once, maybe twice. And she puts her hand forward, and you can see a similar but smaller sort of braided decoration that you made for her from her sister, that she presents forward. A blackish, brownish, shorter hair, and you can see from where it looks like there's like a jagged bit missing from her side, having used a bit of her own hair to put into action what you taught her, and in her efforts to do it has not been like able to run around as much in the last few days because she wanted to get it done by the time you left.
Oh, Yin on the inside is like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. But she takes the little charm and is like very like, oh my gosh, like, you made this? I showed you this once. This is incredible. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, thank you, Elle. Like, and she makes a show of like putting it on her belt to be like, yes, I'm gonna cherish this for fucking ever.
She says, well, I changed a few things and I made it small because I was hoping if it's well, and she looks at behind her shoulder and you see she's looking at your bow. I was like, you were able to deal with the beast, and it was thanks to your skill with that. And I was just like, it'd be cool if, you know, you had something to remind you of that when you use it again. And it's, yeah.
She takes it off of her belt and will hook it to be like a charm on her bow. She's like...
And she smiles so wide when you do that. And it's just like...
She's like, I will cherish this forever, and every time I use my bow or I see this charm, I will think of you.
Really? Yeah. You're gonna... If you come across any more beasties or things that are like, you know, making other people mad or upset, and you have to, you know, shoot your bow, it'll help.
Oh, I'm sure. I can already tell. Ian wants to just keep shooting the shit, but like we have to go. So she's like, so she sort of kneels down and will sort of like with like idle hands sort of like kind of like try to braid the hair over like the awkward short part of her head that she cut off. And she's like, I hope her mom doesn't get mad at me for this. And sort of like braids it sort of like behind the ear. Just like,
as you
we're gonna have
bend
to head
down,
out.
I want to say, and get close to her, you do see a bit of red in her eyes. It's been a bit, but she definitely probably cried just because she's a kid and the cool new older sister is leaving, but she doesn't want to look sad.
Yeah, I think she, in her head she's like, you're 8. You're allowed to cry. She's like, Mina, I'm gonna miss you so much. Me and my friends have to leave now, but I want you to know that I will add you to all of my stories that I tell wherever I go from here. And she just gives her like this big hug. She's like, I hope that we get to see each other again soon.
She hugs you back, and you feel her like dig herself into your shoulder a bit, and probably like trying to hide a bit of tearing, and says, and anytime you want to, you know, you can come back, right? If you go that way and then you come here this way, and I don't know, you travel a lot with what you do, so you could travel back.
Yeah, I travel all over the place, so there's no reason why I can't travel back here.
Yeah.
As she pulls back, she does sort of like she at first has the thought of like hiding it before she lets Mina see that she's like kind of like tearing up a little bit, but decides I should let this kid know that it's okay to cry. And so she waits until Mina can see her to like wipe away the tears that have sort of like welled up in her eyes a little bit, because like Mina reminds her of like a less competitive Carla and like some of her other family members. Like she's just like it brings up all these feelings, and she's just like, all right, okay, yep.
Yeah. You see her smiling, and you see her like not fully crying, and you can tell it's not like she's not allowing herself to cry, is that she wants to send you off with a smile.
Yeah. She'll smile back. Be like, all right. Oh. That is so sad, because I'm scared that you're gonna be like, hey, just so you know, you lost another family member. She's fucking dead.
Oh god. Holy shit.
Like, I just like, oh, cool, I have an alert for when the people I care about die now. It's when I lose the memories of other people. I think maybe Yin also is like kind of fearing that actually, where she's like, oh man, I really hope everything is okay. And so she's like, you take care of yourself while I'm gone.
I will. And next time when you're back, you just bring more stories.
I'll bring so many stories. I'm gonna have so many more stories. You'll probably get tired of them, but I will bring them.
Oh, yes. And she just smiles at you and she's happy. And, like, you see, like, a traumatizing sort of experience for her has become a well of strength in her experience with you and in meeting you. You all board your caravan, and as you finally make the way, you see a lot of the villagers like watching you go, and Mina's at the front just smiling and waving.
I think Yen sort of takes up the rear of the caravan, like a little bit away from, like not like forever away from everybody else, but she takes up the back and she's waving as they leave. And to Chime, I think she's like, I guess I don't really care if it's a Voidbringer or not, as long as we can keep doing stuff like this for people. You and I are good.
Oh yeah, completely forgot about that. I think okay, so I will say, when you first, I think we still had that when you like spoke with Chime, and it just like, like what are you talking about, Buzz? Right? Like it didn't fully seem to understand what the word Voidbringer meant in this context. And
yeah,
like at least still understanding your worries would like Buzz and Chime, you know, with the light of like, yeah, like, you know, whatever you were worried about is silly, and this right here, as you watch Mina wave off, is what's important.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, Chime. Yin just sort of smiles to herself as she turns forward to where we're going next.
Your caravan pulls out, and I will let you know, Yin, that with that that little charm connected to your bow will now count as a tier 2 improved short bow.
Ooh.
Oh, Mina! You're cool as fuck, Mina!
You got points in smithing.
How do I
I will add it. I might even have prepared it already of like your short bow plus.
Short bow plus? Oh, I got 2! Guys, I'm double wielding short bow plus now.
There you go.
Beautiful.
That's so fucking cool. Holy shit.
Yay! Oh my god, Mina is unstoppable.
Yeah. And just because it's the first one, this is kind of like, you know, we're not doing magical systems like, yeah, it's like super fucking crafter or something. It could be just emotional value of something might improve a weapon to a higher tier.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You guys all set off and continue journey again with the goals the same, but definitely experiences altered. As we finish the session, there's one last thing. As that night, when you sit down for camp, Torlin, we went over your dream, so did we for you, Talira. Yin.
Oh, I'm dreaming.
Think on the mission, you think of Aithi, who you'll meet soon, as you drift off to bed. And you hear Chime buzzing, you feel Chime buzzing as you know you have a connection now to some other realm of cognition and connection. And you can't help but connect to someone else that is also thinking of Aithi in the moment. As you see yourself suddenly in a black room, like there's a pounding behind you, like something's hitting against you, and you feel yourself stand. You're taller than you remember, holding a door like closed. What's going through your head as you don't feel full control of your body, but you do feel you're in this space?
Is it sort of like a dreamscape kind of vibe right now?
It's a little fuzzy, but you can feel like you can comprehend surroundings if you try. You feel like two you're in surroundings. It's dark, but there's an interior space, maybe a
Is
farmhouse.
the is the person whose body I'm inhabiting, like, do I feel like they're stressed? Do I feel like they're like trying to keep this door shut? Like
Yes,
she's
they're in
okay.
like they're in work business mode. They're like, okay, this is what like they feel like they have a reservoir of training they're pulling from, using it to stay calm and on task.
Yeah. Uh I feel like Yin is, even though it's like not quote unquote her body, it's like, yes, we push the door closed. I don't know why, but I don't want to find out why. We push this door closed. Um, like it's kind of like immediately like this, like whether or not she realizes that it's like her connected to this realm of cognition or not, she's like, well, I don't like we got it. Like, does that immediately like yes anding? We're in the situation. We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this door shut. Like she's sort of uh like is trying to put her hands against the door, but her hands are somebody else's hands. It feels very strange.
Yeah, you're
Um
holding the door closed, and you feel weight, a bit more strength. You're definitely in a male body, but maybe probably close to your age. Um, Hands holding the door, and there's another thump, and then the thump rests, and you hear a voice that says, "What was that thing?" As you look, and there's two others in this room with you. There is a two girls about the age of early 20s. One you recognize right away. The other you've seen around. You've seen around with Torlin. The girl that runs around, what was her name? Liz. Yes, Liz. And then you look, and there's Carla standing right there, having just spoken, with a look of fear in her eyes.
Carla? I feel like Yin just sort of speaks before she realizes what she's doing, and she's like, and then like tries to like look down at like her hands and her body to figure out what the fuck is going on. Uh, does
You
Talon speak?
you try to say those words, but they don't come out. But you still, emotions are aligned, cognition is aligned, and you're just like, it's okay, Carla. I'm not sure. And as you look down, you see the sword at his waist, and you see reflected, um, on a damn. What is actually reflective in this world? Like you see some rainwater that's pulled from a leak on the ground, and you see Talon's face looking back at you as he says, "We're fine, I'm sure." And then the door bangs again against you, and you're shunted out of the vision. You wake up,
Uh,
cold sweat.
uh, yeah, Ian surges upright and it's like breathing hard and is like, doesn't know what to do. And so she's like trying to like look around for like patting her body as if she'll find Chime that way. Um, and she's like,
Chine like zips up right into your face as if it kind of felt what you were feeling.
like a hushed whisper to not wake anybody else up. It's like, what the fuck was that? Was that real?
It glows like brighter and in a rhythm that's like you convey. It's like, I don't know what it was, but it was real. Like it's converting you like, hey, yeah, this happened. It's not in your head, but it doesn't fully understand it itself.
Uh, Yin looks over at wherever Yura is sleeping. Uh, and it's like, do I tell her? Do I tell her? And she's like, well, what if I like? I think at a certain point, she's like, gets up out of her bedroll and like walks a little bit like to like the edge of like the where like the firelight hits, And is like sort of pacing back and forth, like, okay, do I tell her? Well, how do I explain that I know? Like, just very quietly whispering to Chime, like, well, how am I supposed to explain to her how I know that this is happening without explaining that you're here and that I'm here and that this, this is a mess. This is a mess. I come to, like,
As you're pacing and thinking, and chimes floating by your ear as you're speaking in whispers to it, what is the last thing we see on Yin, as we probably might not visit her for a bit?
I think the last thing you see is, uh, Yin looking up at the stars, trying to make a decision, and then walking back towards the camp to wake up Yura.
All right. A
Oh.
decision made, and you walk straight on back. That's where we'll end today's session. Good job, guys.
More story.
Surprise!
More story, more movie, Papa.
Hold on. The session doesn't need to be over.
It's only 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
Christ almighty.
we finished.
I was
Mark?
so convinced.
Oh my god, stars, 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 stars all around.
I want them all to be
What a
happy.
No one's allowed to be happy. Everyone's allowed to get close, but no one's allowed to get all the way.
No one's
The,
allowed
like,
to be happy.
being in that conversation and the absolute crushing weight of like having to be Yira being like, these aren't just like fellow adults who I can be like, let's be really real for a second. I'm drowning. Can we like maybe chill out? She's like, nope, these are my children and I can't tell that to them because that will irreparably change our relationship. So I have to somehow be honest, but also not tell them that I'm losing it.
And so all that stress must be figured out next time.